Space, the final frontier. This is a review show for Star Trek The Next Generation. Its continuing mission to explore interesting plot points, to seek out goofs and continuity errors, to boldly go where no other TNG review show has gone before. It's Wednesday. It's 8 o'clock. It's the TNG review show. Okay, well, that's unusual. You were coming up as black. Why is that then? Why aren't we there?
Oh,
Where are we?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I can see like a StreamYard sort of thing.
StreamYard. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
you're
right one.
not. It's displaying one of your photos. It's not displaying, or one of your screens. It's not.
Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. What's gone wrong with that then? Why isn't it?
This is a completely new thing that's never happened before.
Ah, there we go. I don't know why that happened. No, who knows? Who knows?
No, we're just. Oh, there we go. Hello.
Yes, hello. I'll do that again. It's the TNG review show. Yeah. It really wouldn't be the TNG review show without a false start, would it? Really? I really thought I'd covered all my angles today. I thought I've got it all sussed. It's going to be fine, but no, it's still. It was the visuals this time, but if it's not one thing, it's another. But hopefully we're not in getting echoes, and we're not all the audio shouldn't be all over the place this time. So fingers crossed we got that
thanks for leaving us all in the dark, guys.
Literally, yeah, literally. Good evening, everyone. It is Wednesday. It is us. We're back talking about Star Trek The Next Generation. Again, our favourite show. Putting front and centre in the middle of the week. Consigning another Season 6 episode to our vault. With me, Monteban, my co-host, Mazim Bob, Tavikins Turner, and Chief Sean. And all you lovely people in live chat. Starting off with Mazim Bob. How's your week going?
Forget about my week. I just want to draw attention to Chief Sean's hair. He has gone purple again.
He's gone all Boimler on us again this evening, hasn't he?
I may have had some inspiration during the week, but
somebody's been watching Strange New Worlds.
Well, I actually woke up at 4 in the morning, not on purpose. I just woke up and I was like, "Oh, great!" And I went over and just put it straight on. So it was only out about 20 minutes. So I watched it at 4 in the morning as it came live.
Very cool.
It was just so good.
Nice.
Very good.
Some questions about it may work their way into the quiz. We'll see.
Oh gosh. Oh no.
So I hope you all saw it.
Nope.
No.
No, nobody.
They're not that hard. You should be able to guess them anyway.
We'll give it a good guess. We'll give it a good guess.
Yeah.
I protest immediately.
Tommykins, how's your week been? You're back. You're back home.
I'm doing good. Busy as all heck because this weekend my older brother is coming.
Wow, it's all go in your life, isn't it?
He's coming. He's bringing my mother's ashes because she always wanted to go to Italy. She never got the chance. So he's taking her ashes on a European tour before depositing them, spreading them in Italy somewhere.
Wow.
Amazing.
So it is amazing. How did you find your farm when you got home? Was everything still alive?
It looks quite overgrown. And my greenhouse, the cover on the greenhouse is blown off. I've left it that way because it's raining, and then I don't have to water in the greenhouse. But my strawberry bushes have flooded, so I've got to either drill holes in the bottom of them or turn the containers on their sides. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to drown out my strawberry.
Oh dear, nobody wants drowned strawberries.
No.
Yep.
Yeah, I bought like 8 plants and I've so far got 1 strawberry. The crows in particular, there's a lot of crows in my dad's garden and they don't last.
No.
Funny,
they tried to build a cage around them and then they got into the cage and there's a whole thing.
Oh my goodness. Funny you say that. I'm actually trying to feed up magpies so they stay around, specifically because they keep the crows away if they've already kept that territory. Okay. They're quite vicious when it comes to territory. So I've got a breeding pair that's here, and they will fight to the death.
Well, I have a little, I suppose, what do you call it, a food caddy, for your organic waste, and I sometimes just leave it out on I have a little kind of fire escape kind of entrance into the flat. And anyway, the crows leave when there's onions in it or bits of rice. The crows leave it alone. But you throw out a chicken carcass or any sort of bones, and the thing is just everywhere, just all strewn up and down, and literally a whole chicken carcass. They just fly it away. I don't know how, but they do it.
I'm trying to keep them from flying an actual whole chicken carcass of my living chickens away. So
that as well.
You don't want to give them a taste for chicken.
They'll put up a fight.
Yeah, the magpies just steal eggs, but a crow will take a whole chicken.
Yeah. Wow.
Yikes.
Well.
Sean, how's your week going?
Yeah, all right. I'm still off, thankfully. Just tapping around doing a few things. I was just saying as before we came on air, I have a new phone and I got it on Friday and I only just realized today I hadn't turned WhatsApp on. So I've just been dead to the world for 4 days. Yeah, it wasn't that bad, but it was still like, whoops, okay.
Doesn't it also kind of feel wonderful to be dead to the world at the same time?
Yes.
Nice. Is that an iPhone or a Samsung?
This is a Pixel 7a. It's made by Google. Well, I think A's is physically manufactured, but Google did that.
A Google phone.
So the thing is that if you get other brands of Android, they have bloatware. They put their own UI on it, and it slows down the battery and just makes the whole thing slower and does things. Whereas this is like the pure one. So A, you get the updates first, and B, the battery lasts better and it's just a little bit quicker. That's the main reasoning.
Doesn't have all the Samsung stuff slapped on top.
Plus, top of the range, brand new phone, €450, not €1,200. So
nice.
That helps too.
Nice. Well, I'm glad you're okay. In live chat, we've got Wookie. Do you want to give us a Wookie? There we go. Yep. We've got Ruth, Good evening to you, Ruth. Ruth, we got Stu Plum. Good evening, Stu Plum. And
or as Wookie put it, Stewie.
Stewie. And I think we will have, we should have Smile a Rainbow a little bit later on. Yes. So,
And Andrew said that he's still out of the country, but he'll be joining us next Wednesday. So that'd be good.
Feel free to hit that the heart icon to feel or like button or do all those good things.
Do all the things.
And whilst I remember, because I might forget later on, I will just give a quick plug for the Monty Zone is back this Friday with G and myself. We are talking about UFO personalities this week, ufologists. Some of the famous people in the UFO world. So,
what about you're gonna get the aliens meme guy?
Which one's that?
He's holding his hands like this. He just says aliens, and he's got mad hair. You know the guy.
No, I'll look it up, Sean. I will look that
Please
up
do.
just for you. I will look that up and I will add it. I will add it to the agenda. Alien memes guy. That will be surely mentioned just for you. Wookie says your rinse is looking good, Sean. I think he thinks you got like a blue rinse.
I'm identifying as a 70-year-old woman.
That's a 70-year-old woman.
That's exactly the look I'm going for.
Yes.
Brilliant.
You just get to that age, you just go, I know, purple.
Yeah. It's sort of person I expect to see in a Waitrose cafe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get straight on to the episode then. This week we are consigning to the vault episode 6 of season 6, which is True Q. It's production number 40276-232, and it first aired in the US on the 26th of October 1992. It was the 131st episode to be both produced and released, and was written by Rene Echeverria. This was his 6th of 18 episodes, and directed by Robert Shearer, his 9th of 11. So I've only got a few Robert Shearer ones to go. I did notice a mistake actually on Robert Shearer's bio on Memory Alpha as I was reviewing this. I know we talked about it. I mean, this is his 9th episode. I know we've talked about him a number of times before, but I don't think we mentioned this. In his early career, he was a dancer, and was in a number of films in like the dancing chorus lines of various films. And it says in Memory Alpha that he appeared in a film with Julia Roberts called The Girlfriend. But actually, it was the Broadway play he appeared with Julia Roberts, not the film, the 1971 film. Didn't have Julia Roberts in it. Neither. Didn't have him in it either.
It doesn't happen that often, but generally when they decide to adapt a Broadway play for Hollywood for a film, they generally just replace all the leads with named actors just to sell it. And like, how annoyed would you be? You've been performing on Broadway for several years. They go, yeah, do you know what? Julie Roberts, we'll just drop her in it. It's fine.
Well, to be honest, though, the Broadway play with Julia Roberts, the Broadway play with Julia Roberts and Robert Shearer was in about 1955, 56.
Oh, okay.
And the film, which starred Twiggy, was in 1971. So it was quite a bit in the future. So yeah, slight mistake there from Memory Alpha, but there you go. Any other production notes from that side, Maz?
Yeah, I mean, Echevarria sort of contributed to it as a staff writer, but the original sort of spec script came from a young lad called Matthew Corey, who was only 17 years old at the time when he originally submitted the script. But I think it wasn't originally, they didn't originally take the premise. There was Wesley Crusher, a teenage romance, an unwanted pregnancy, all kinds of things. There was also, Amanda was also a male at the time when the original script was put in. And apparently Matthew Corey thought that he might be cast for the part, was hoping, but obviously didn't. They changed it to a female. But yeah, so it was, yeah, I think it took a while for them to actually take this. And originally, the script was called "Cue Me," as in like "Who me?"
That's
But
quite a
obviously,
clever.
they changed it later on.
That was quite a
Yeah,
clever
well,
pun on cue.
we
Yeah.
know that last week's episode Schisms was thrown in at the last minute to cover up that they didn't have an episode ready. So it's not surprising that they kind of were scrambling and just grabbed the script and made something out of it. And as I said, I consider this probably the weakest of the TNGQ episodes. So yeah. Anyway, that's not surprising. He was born on the 16th of November, 74. I don't know if that makes him younger or older than you, Monty, but certainly the same year. He was 70, 75.
Older,
Older,
75.
Oh, excuse
75.
me.
The best year, 1975.
Surprisingly,
Yeah, they named the
now,
band after it.
Yeah, they
even
did.
though this is even though this is one of the lesser Q episodes, now as time has gone by, this is one of the more valuable episodes in my opinion.
Okay.
I will tell
Yeah.
you later why.
We'll discuss. Discuss. Yes. Very good, Toby. Very good. Yeah, I didn't get that. I just read on Memory Alpha that it was written by Reni Echeverria. I didn't get the rest of that stuff. I did know that in one of the original scripts, the girl's name was Samantha because I think the original plan was it was kind of like they felt it was like a Bewitched. I think it was is it Bewitched?
Yeah, it was kind of like a bit of an in-joke. But,
in-joke Bewitched episode.
yeah, Rick Berman made sure the name was changed so it wasn't quite so on the nose.
On the nose, yes. I saw that. Yes. Okay, so the teaser. First off, let me just get my Wheel of Misfortune as it's becoming.
Wheel of Fortune is
It's the Wheel of Misfortune. Because quite often my name doesn't come up. And Wookiees does. And I end up losing points when I finally get my name on it.
Yeah, I did quite well with the ones that I didn't get right last week. I think Stuplum did as well. He got one not right, or didn't answer one, and was the only one that didn't have points taken away.
It all worked out for you in the end. Somehow. Not that I'm bitter.
Wookie is asking, can he at some stage have a look at the all the autographs on your poster over your right shoulder there?
Oh yeah, they're not real. They're fake.
Oh, okay.
They're fake. Yeah, it's just a poster of autographs from Marvel. Something my mum got me for Christmas one Christmas.
Oh, is your red uniform? Is that a new red uniform? Is it or
Who, me?
Me.
what color is it? Oh, is it blue that you don't have?
Blue I
can't
don't
remember
have.
what color it is that you don't.
I
You
ordered
don't
a blue one just to
You've ordered
round
a
it
blue
out,
one.
but I don't
Right.
have it yet.
Okay.
But I went with the Boimler this week for obvious reasons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Boy, it's
I
Boimler
have
week.
ordered more, so yeah, they'll arrive in due course. I'll give away a minor spoiler. One of them is a replica of the Lower Decks one as seen in Strange New Worlds, but it hasn't even shipped yet. And I was hoping it happened this week, and it don't.
Cool.
So as it appears in live action, as opposed to how it appears on Lower Decks. Anyway,
Anywho, yeah, there's the first picture. It's a beautiful picture of the glorious
big.
day. This episode opens with a captain's log telling us that the Enterprise has arrived at Starbase 112 and is loading relief supplies destined for Tagra 4, an ecologically devastated planet in the Argolis cluster. They have also taken on a passenger in the form of Amanda Rogers, an intern who's going to help with the Tagra 4 situation. In Picard's ready room, he welcomes her on board and congratulates her for winning the position against hundreds of applicants. Beverly has arranged for her to work in all the major departments while she's on board, so she'll get a good idea of the fields that she may be interested in future, because at the moment she doesn't know quite what to do with her career.
I want to point out here, I think this is the first indication of Q powers, because if she wasn't qualified for this job, I believe that her desire for it may have actually made it so that she got here.
Well, I don't doubt it. You know, I'm sure there's little things along the way that she's utilized within herself that she doesn't even know she's done.
Mm-hmm. They're talking about in this scene how there were people with so many more better entries, And I'm
Yeah.
like, so why did they get here? Why did they choose you?
It's a bit like when she says at the very end, I'm skipping to the end, but when she says at the end she's got to go home and tell her parents first, that she's Q. I'm sure it's going to be like a bit like when G came out to Maz and myself, and he was like, I need to sit you down and I need to tell you I'm gay, and we're like, yeah. I'm sure that happened with her parents. She sat them down and was like, "Now, parents, there's something I've got to tell you. I'm a bit different. I'm a Q." And they're like, "Yeah, well, these dogs do keep spontaneously appearing in our house out of nowhere."
Can you imagine how
We
tough
did
it
think
is?
it
We
was
keep
something
having to
slightly different
rehome
about
them
you.
or put them down. It's really sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's she looking at in that picture?
Um, I don't
And
know.
why is Bev looking at her so weirdly as well? It's all a
I
little
know.
bit strange.
It's one of those they want to be tight on the shot, so
Yeah.
they're all stood like
Everybody
really
stood uncomfortably
uncomfortably.
close to each other.
Yeah, so they're actually like all touching. It's just like nobody would actually stand like that in real life. Yeah. There we go. Okay,
Have you
so
got Pinot Noir in your Bodum cup there, Chief Sean?
No, I'm on Cabernet Sauvignon tonight.
Oh, nice.
Just no particular reason, just damp.
I did have a red wine with my meal earlier, but I'm now on a cream soda.
But it
Orange.
is in my little tea or grey hot glass, yes.
orange juice. I'm on orange juice today.
I suppose you can call that props.
Did you forget to go shopping again?
Yeah. Okay.
Did we say drinking?
Can you
just
set up
now?
Can you set up an automated thing that Tesco deliver your wine every Wednesday evening?
I could. I should do, shouldn't I? I should just get a standing.
7
order.
o'clock on Wednesday, just wine turns up.
Yeah.
Well, last Tuesday I did offer for you to come raid my garage, but you already had some. But
I
that is
did.
a standing invite if ever you want
That's-
to come raid.
That was a whole week away. I've gone through a number of bottles since then. I tell you, I'm all right on I'm all right on the orange.
standing invite.
Thank you very much, Maz. It's very nice of you. I'm a very lucky brother. Okay. So Picard orders Will to take her to her quarters, which knowing Will's probably not a good idea, but that's what he orders him anyway. So on the way, Riker shows her around the ship. But she appears to be already quite fluent with the ship's layout because she studied it before her arrival.
I would
It's more
imagine.
obvious.
Sorry?
Yeah, her acting hurts. She's into him, like she wants some
Jesus.
beard action.
Yeah.
But I mean, you assume I'd imagine there's some security lockouts, but outside of that, like the main areas, the corridors, and that, you should be able to go into any holodeck and be able to recreate it and have a stage 9 walk around the ship. And so before you set foot in the ship, you've walked around it dozens of times and you know where everything is.
Yeah.
If I was going on it, like I've heard of real life pilots going on, like if they're going to an airport they've never flown to before, they go on flight simulator the day before and they practice it 4 or 5 times just so they get used to the way that the terminal is set up. I can surprise if they don't do the same thing.
Well, it's like if you're going to a city for a city break now or something like that, you go on Street View, don't you? And see your hotel and see the best way to get from your hotel to like the local
Train
market
station.
or whatever train station, check it all out in Street View first so you can kind of imagine where you're going.
Mm.
It would really depend, I think, if these ships were registered under like information security for like military. Because this is a ship that they don't want people infiltrating. The last thing you want is for people to get knowledge of the basic corridors that you are allowed to. When it's like, well, you're just allowed on the ship when you're allowed on the ship. And the template of a regular class of starship is, I guess, knowledge for cadets and so on and so forth.
At this stage in the peaceful era of Star Trek, which is the TNG era, where they have families on board ships and they have school teachers and civilians, they don't care about that stuff so much, particularly with the Galaxy class. But yeah, later on with the Dominion Wars and stuff, they tighten up. But I can imagine they're a little bit loose about it. Not at every corridor in the Jeffries tubes, but certainly, you know, if you want to walk around the floors and things, that most people would be able to do it.
I like that.
Or as knowing she was going to be assigned to the Enterprise, I don't see any reason, even if it was classified, that she wouldn't be able to get pre-clearance to, you know, generate it in holodeck.
Do you want to have a quick, as she's on screen here, should we have a quick talk about this actress?
Darbo.
Darbo. Olivia.
Oh, she's one of
Olivia
those.
Darbo.
Oh, she's the one from the Conan film.
She's the one from the Conan film, Conan the Destroyer. Yeah, she was the princess that Conan had to save in Conan the Destroyer.
Did they hook up in that movie?
Sorry?
Did they hook up in that movie?
I hope not, because that came out in 19...
She was about 14 or 15 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was
And she was dressed...
14.
I'm just thinking of the recent remake with whatchamacallit, the dark and sexy dude. What's his name?
Fred Spiner.
Yeah. But I don't think he did this one.
But she was like 15 and dressed like a 15-year-old shouldn't be dressed. Just leave it at that. It was the 70s. It was a different time.
No, it was 1982, and she was 13.
Oh,
I think she went from 13 to 14 during the production of it.
Oh, that's
creepy.
rough now.
Yeah.
Yeah. The new Conan that came out, the Conan hooks up with a chick, and I just presume that like a previous Conan movie, it was the same storyline. And I'm like,
at the end of it, she's crowned queen, and then she offers Conan to be her king, and he decides to go off into the sunset and keep, you know, fighting villains instead, as I recall.
I'm just checking that out. Was it Conan the Destroyer? Oh, 1984. No, so she was 15. Yeah, sorry, 14 to 15, not 13 to 14.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't really help.
That doesn't make it better.
That doesn't really make it any better.
In my defense, I was younger than that when I first saw it. So,
yeah, she was born in 1969, in January 1969.
It's like so many 80s films. It's like Blue Lagoon. It's just like it's so problematic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one gives me it's like
It was fine watching it when I was a kid,
off of this.
but yeah, now watching it as an adult, looking back, is cringe. She was also in the Wonder Years. She was Fred Savage's older sister in the Wonder Years. So she was, but she despite her being in the Wonder Years, and then she's actually born in London. She's English. Her dad was Mike D'Abo of a band from the 60s. Manfred Mann.
I've heard of them.
Her dad was the lead singer of Manfred Mann. He wrote Handbags and Glad Rags that was covered by the Stereophonics. You know, handbags and the glad rags.
He also had, just looking up here, Build Me Up Buttercup, which is a banger.
Don't you build me up, Buttercup, baby.
I'm not
that,
Fill Me Up Buttercup as I used to sing it. But,
yeah, Fill Me Up Buttercup.
Until someone corrected me. I was like, oh, Freudian slip there.
Yeah, Fill Me Up Buttercup.
She was also in...
I was singing that for a while until someone corrected it. Sorry, go ahead.
She was also in, oddly enough, a film that I just watched a few days ago that I hadn't seen in probably 10 years or so. And it's got what's she called? Bridget Fonda. And I think the UK version of it was called The Assassin. But I think its typical title was Point of No Return. And she plays like one of the assassin's marks. She plays his wife, and Bridget Fonda has to like do an impression of her to sort of infiltrate their home and take him out. But I was like, oh, weird. I haven't seen that in 10 years. I literally just saw it 2 days ago, and here she's popped up in Star Trek.
And her cousin was Mariam Diabo. Mariam Diabo. Who was a Bond girl, and who actually, looked quite a lot like her. If I can just... am I going to break everything by doing this?
The Living Daylights, not one of the better Bond
No.
films, one of the Timothy Dalton ones.
But if you look at her there, look, she does look a lot like her, doesn't she? That's Mariam Diabo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of funny, most of the Bonds weren't actually played by English people, but his was, Timothy Dalton was probably not one of the best ones.
No.
It's better than Lazenby, but not by much.
No. Okay, so yes, so Riker's showing her around the ship, but yes, she knows the layout already. They get to her quarters, and she wishes that they brought her zoo, which consists of 3 dogs. Riker tells her that she will be too busy to miss the dogs. They will keep her busy, so he leaves her to it. And after Riker leaves her quarters, puppies start randomly appearing. And
They're so cute.
They're so cute. Amanda gives them a good petting, but then insists that they disappear. And that's the end of the teaser.
Ooh.
Lovely stuff. So, they would go with the questions. First question. What section does Amanda say they are on? A, Deck 4, Section 7. B, Deck 7, Section 4. C, Deck 7, Section 9. Or D, Deck 3, Section 5. And the bonus question is, how many puppies are there? And it's between 10 and 12 because I don't want to make it too hard.
Oh, I haven't got my phone to answer questions. Oh no, hang on. I've got to get to the stream.
But they're so cute.
Yeah.
I didn't count
They
them.
are-
They're too busy being cute.
I think they're Labradors, but it's hard to tell.
They are.
Obviously, they're pups, so...
Yeah, the labs. See if we
Yeah,
get
just,
that
you know, the
picture.
labs are a bit pudgy when they're puppies, so it's kind of... You're going through the questions to see how many puppies
Oh.
there are.
She makes them disappear. Look. There they are.
No.
Then they're gone. Oh,
Oh, you can't make the puppies go.
no. What was the
Although,
second
yeah.
question?
How many puppies are there?
Oh. 10 or
10
12?
to 12 is the...
10 to 12.
10 to 12.
Oh.
Yeah, so 10,
Crikey.
11, or 12. One of those.
I'll guess. No idea.
So the only observations I've got, I know we've talked about this a little bit before, but it did sort of come up in the trivia that this was Dr. Beverly Crusher's debut of her new hairstyle, which keeps the rest of the series, getting rid of her wig and now replaced by her own straight, shorter hair. First time since the first season where she's worn a hairpiece, with a possible exception of season 3's The Enemy. But I thought we discussed this an episode or two ago.
Yeah, no, I did say it was coming up. In fact,
Oh, at some point in this series. Ah, right.
the
okay.
next picture
This
is
will
this
be it
one.
then.
And I've got a note saying, mention Beverly's hair.
Ah,
So this is the very scene that we see Beverly's hair for the first time. Yes. And she doesn't wear a wig from now on.
what about when she was just in Picard's office earlier? Did we
Oh,
not see
yes.
it then?
No, yeah, we did see it then. But I didn't make the note until this picture here that I found out.
Ah.
So, yeah.
Do you have a goof for that
And my-
particular shot there, Mazza?
Yes, she's holding
yeah.
the tricorder the wrong way
She's holding
around.
the tricorder backwards. Yeah.
Yeah, and some of them aren't medical tricorders, they're just regular ones, because they only had
Yes.
so many props.
True.
Somebody must tell her, though, between this shot and the next one, because she puts this one down and then the next one she holds the right way around. So someone must have said to her, like, not that way, the other way. And they couldn't be bothered to go back and reshoot this bit. They just, oh, no, never mind. She just doesn't know what she's doing.
There's a bit in Skin of Evil where someone's phaser just pops out of its pocket and falls down and ruins the shot completely, and it's just left in because it was too expensive to fix things back then.
I think
like
it was,
the- in this
was it
one episode-
Rikers? I think it was might have
Yeah,
been
but the
Rikers.
Yeah, I
same thing
think so.
happened in the last episode where he
Hmm.
was picking up the woman to rescue her, and his
And, yeah,
phaser falls out of his
schisms.
pocket as he picks her up. And then as he goes through the schism thing, it appears on the other side, it's back in his pocket again.
Yeah.
So yeah, this happens.
Well, they just didn't always see it. There was an episode, an early episode of Discovery, and Burnham picks up the phaser backwards, so it's pointing at herself, and she points it at someone else in the middle of a battle and tries to shoot it. And they released it on streaming. Everyone noticed, and then 2 days later, they just corrected it. They just digitally manipulated it so it was pointing the right way around again. So they just couldn't do that back in the day.
No, they manipulate them all the time. Always tweaking, always changing.
Or you know about Jeans Man in the Mandalorian, there was just a guy standing in jeans in the corner of a shot, and literally 2 days later, or the coffee cup of Game of Thrones, they could just delete these things now.
Yeah.
Bing bang bot.
Re-upload a file.
How do you pick up a phaser backwards when you're Star Trek cast?
And she'd been cast for a few years, but she somehow picked it up backwards, and the director saw it, and the editor saw it, and it went out on Netflix at the time. And it was only when the fans saw it did anyone notice. And they corrected it almost immediately once they knew about it, because Twitter was making fun of it.
Yeah. I mean, let alone being a
it's
Trek
Discovery.
fan, it's like how much freaking money are they paying you?
But even like the ergonomic thing, you can't really hold it backwards because it doesn't fit in your hand properly. But she found a way. I don't know.
They really don't put much thought into it, to be fair.
No, it's Discovery.
Yeah. Yeah. So answers to the questions.
Yeah. Well, the first one was A, Deck 4, Section 7. It was a hidden 47. 7 Section 4 is the other one. Deck 7, Section 9. Any idea why I threw that in?
It wasn't.
No. Why I just put it in as a question?
Oh, sorry. Yes. I thought you said that was the answer. I just said what's the answer.
No.
7 of 9.
7 of 9. And
7 of 9.
Deck 3,
Right.
Section 5. That was a bit harder. It was Hugh Borg's Borg designation.
Oh, 3 of 5. Right. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, that's good.
And it was
So it
10
was actually
puppies.
B, right?
It was B. The answer was B.
No, it was A, Deck 4, Section 7, and it was 10 puppies.
No, it was Deck 7,
Oh,
Section 4.
sorry, you're right, sorry. I did these questions yesterday.
Seem right.
You put A
You're
because
right.
of 47. That was
B,
your...
sorry,
It's B.
It's 74.
This
Yeah,
is
right.
why confusion.
Thank goodness.
Right.
Sorry, you are right. I did these questions yesterday and I
Yes.
just forgot.
No, that's all right. It's okay.
I don't write the answers on the sheet because I accidentally paste them into the chat sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and 10 puppies.
Oh, what's 10? All right. Well done, everyone.
That's a complete guess.
Yeah, it was a complete guess from me
So
as well.
on the wheel, we've got everybody, I think. Yeah,
Except
everybody.
for Ruth.
Ruth, Tavi,
we
Mazza,
have got
Monty,
Ruth,
Stupin,
yeah. Everyone.
and Wookie.
All right. So, there's just a case that it's good. We either lose everything or someone gets something. So,
Well, either way, you wash your face. Oh well, I suppose if everyone loses, that's the most.
I was going to say,
no, Tavi got it.
if Wookie did appear there then and we all got a -10, Ruth would have been in the curious position of being the only person I've ever had to put into negative points. Pelicans!
Tabikins.
Now in the lead.
Well done, Tabikins. And Tabikins made a good
Early
point there in live chat that, yes, most of Troy's parts in this episode does appear to have been replaced by Crusher because she's like doctor, confidant, counselor, and once again, Troy's. They replaced Troy having given opportunity. But bless her. Maybe it's the hair. Who knows?
And right.
Whether she had the role in an episode.
Sorry.
I was going to say, would she have the role in an episode or not? She got paid the same. So, she's on set for 1 day and, she's sitting pretty for 6. She's still getting paid. I wouldn't mind that.
What are you going to say, Terry?
I was saying, and then they also left out Riker his, valuable opinion of actually being turned into a Q for an episode.
Well, that's true. He's been in the position.
I was like, really? You didn't want to?
Yeah. They repeat a few story beats of him basically not being able to have the power of the Q and live on the ship. Yeah, in some respects, the plots are a little bit too similar.
Yeah. If it was me, I'd just say stay. You know, like it'd be useful having a counselor on one side of you that's telepathic and can read your opponent's minds, and then a Q on the other side, in the other chair on the bridge, who can just make all your problems disappear.
Yeah, but
Be
it's,
the most
it's kind of
successful
like playing a
captain in
game
Starfleet.
and then giving yourself invincibility and unlimited ammo. It's no fun. You know,
Yeah.
there has to be
I
Yeah, I used to
some
love
sort
that
of
on
challenge.
game. That'd be great.
suppose.
I don't think that's going to be great in a military sense. Be like, hey, how about we go out here and some of us die? Oh.
Yeah.
Or we could be boring and have Riker keep us all alive.
We
What?
got a problem. We got a problem with the Marquis. I'll just send the Enterprise. Oh, the Marquis don't exist anymore. No. The Dominion.
Borg are coming.
What?
Send the Enterprise.
Send the Enterprise. The Enterprise face off with a Borg. Borg disappear. Oh no.
Yeah.
Changelings threatening the universe. Enterprise.
Enterprise. It's job for the Enterprise. Oh, it's fixed. Piece of cake. Oh dear.
Great.
Okay, so Amanda and Beverly are in the medical lab. Beverly's instructing on how to test each tricorder, although she's not, as we said, doing a very good job of it because she's holding it the wrong way around. They talk about the fact that, like Wesley losing his dad when he was young, she too lost her parents when she was very young. And she was adopted by a bunch of marine biologist Starfleet officers. So she grew up in Starfleet as well. Amanda delivers the calibrated medical tricorders to Geordi in the shuttle bay. Geordi explains they are using shuttlecraft because ionization in the planet's atmosphere. Amanda has read how they're using thousands of barostatic filters to clean the atmosphere rather than solve their polluting industrial base. As they're talking, Amanda spots Riker over the other side of the cargo bay. I did notice that it went from like that shot with a blue guy there, literally goes from that shot to that shot. And he
I didn't notice
he
that.
blinks out
I
of
noticed it was a
existence.
different person, all right, but yeah,
Yeah, he goes blink, gone. I don't know where he's gone.
it was a Q thing.
Yeah. So yeah, she spots Riker over the other side of the cargo bay. It's like, oh, hello, it's Riker again. But then she notices a container is about to fall, squishing him flat. As it falls through the air, she swishes it aside with a wave of her finger, making the container miss Riker, so all is well. Luckily, nobody notices Amanda's involvement. And here's a quick
And
little... Sorry, Tim?
And they also, then again, still refuse to strap down their cargo.
Yeah, no, they just let it all... Yep. There's the box in mid-fall. And...
Well, I've never been in the military, but you know, I've worked in a warehouse. Just common sense rules such as if you don't put something on a height, then it can't fall down on top of you. You know, there's some really basic rule of thumb things that you do.
Yeah.
And over the baluster at that. I'm like, or the rail.
I was just wondering if that guy in blue uniform was stood behind the shuttlecraft here. And just got blatted by a sideways flying crate. And Riker's like, what was that?
Hey, this will be one of those great episodes where Worf is like, oh, what are you going to do now that your spines are broken in 50 places? Do you want me to help you? Fuck off.
I know it was an empty container, and I know they obviously yanked it with a bit of fishing line to make sure it didn't land. And they weren't, but like, did they really need a stuntman for that? I mean, it was an empty plastic container. If it hit the actor, it wouldn't have done him any damage.
Is that
You know,
not
but
Riker?
they still brought.
I suppose it is.
Yeah, that's a stuntman. It's not
Looks
him.
like Riker.
Yeah, he's got the beard and the hair, but he's look,
Yeah,
you
but
can
it's
see it
just
there
like
between
him.
those two. Yeah, he's a little bit kind of bit more timber. He's a tiny bit more broad. I wouldn't say, but he's not. Yeah, it changes between that guy and then the next shot, and you see it's not him.
I noticed
And that's
he went
part of the
from,
reason.
like, he
It's
went
for
from...
a change a very good stunt double then. 'cause
It is.
looks just-
Yeah,
I have to be...
and that's part of the reason why the blue man must have disappeared because they just flick it like that.
Honestly, I didn't notice that. So there you
No, I thought that was him.
go. Yeah. Geordie takes her to engineering to show her around again. She's already quite familiar with a number of aspects of engineering because she's been doing her reading. Data's about to relay some impressive power figures, power generation figures, but he's cut short by a warp core breach, and everyone's about to die.
Can we just move off that as quickly as possible?
Yeah,
No.
we'll do.
Yeah. That's okay.
Geordie orders an evacuation and is about to dump the warp core when it actually explodes. Amanda's not having that, though, during her engineering visit, so she makes it all go back to normal. And there's the warp core going critical. Looks pretty cool. And there's
it's a decent shot.
There's Amanda putting it all back together again. And they're like, what the hell just happened? She's like, dum-de-dum-de-dum. Nothing to see here. And that's the end of Act 1.
Lovely stuff. So, we're top. So, how much did Data say the temperature in the reactor increased by?
The first time, I presume.
Yeah, I'm not even giving you options. It's a percentage. It should be fairly obvious.
Because he gives two different ones, but
yeah. Sorry, that's the bonus. I did the questions the wrong way around because I'm an idiot. Okay, sorry. Question 1. What subject did Amanda do a paper on? A. Human cyborg relations. B. Eco regeneration. C. Planetary biospheres. Or D. A young woman from Venus. And sorry, the bonus question is, what percentage did Data say the temperature in the reactor chamber increased by? So if I'm asking a number question, that might be a clue as to what the answer might be.
Oh, right, yes. Answer.
sure.
Yeah, the first number.
I'm going to go...
Sorry, that's my fault.
Just
This
because
is what
of
happens when you do the questions 2 days before, you forget what they are.
Just because of what you just said, I'm going 47%. I didn't even hear the question, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as I said, the
Yes.
the other question then is,
Uh,
what subject did Amanda do a paper on? Human cyborg relations, eco regeneration, planetary biospheres, a young woman from Venus.
I'm going to go planetary biosphere. I have no idea.
Yeah, it was between B and C for me, I've guessed. So we already mentioned about the tricorders and stuff. Also, just after their conversation in sickbay, Crusher says, "Oh, Nurse Agawa will help you take the tricorders down to the shuttle bay." And then we see poor Amanda lugging both cases on her own for some reason. The only other one is that apparently the warp core breach effect was created using liquid nitrogen and specially coated flashlights, the effect then being enhanced in post-production with animation from Digital Magic. And
Yeah.
that was all I have for Act 1. I don't, in general, have a great deal of trivia or goofs for this episode entirely, so just warning you that we may need to vamp from time to time, but that's all I have for Act 1.
And you may notice that we have changed the background now for this season. We're no longer in Data's quarters. We're now on the holodeck. If you can just about see the background there. That's, I don't know if you can see it, but here, yeah, there it is.
We can.
We are on the holodeck.
Ooh, shuttlecraft in the sky. I can fly twice as high. Nice
Smile
smiley.
a rainbow.
Hey, Mickey, you're so fine.
Oh, it's Mickey as well. Hiya, Mickey. I hope you're well. He's in Maspalomas.
Ooh,
Is it warm?
Exciting.
Is it warm out there, Mickey? Are you having a
Bet it
nice
is.
warm time? I bet it's very warm. Okay, do you want to give us the answers then, Chief Sean?
Yeah, it was B, eco regeneration.
No.
Oof.
Damn.
Yes.
And it was 47%. And who would be an expert in human cyborg relations? Can anyone tell me that?
That's C3PO.
That's correct, yeah. And who would be an expert on a young woman from Venus?
Data.
Data. There we go.
Well, actually, he's not
Never-
an ex. Did he? I don't think you got to finish that and get a. an
No, he
explanation.
still hasn't. 35 years later, he's still waiting to finish
Still
it.
never finished it. Mickey's in the low 30s most of the time, so yeah, that's pretty warm. That's pretty warm.
Lovely.
Well, as long
Better
as
than
it's
what we've
below,
got here, that's for sure.
as
got
long as
rain,
it's below
Mickey.
34, because once you hit 34, that's the temperature where sweating can't make you cooler, and that's when you get heat stroke. So
Yeah.
that's the one to watch out for.
Well, I'm sure he's having a lovely time. Lovely time. Very cool. So 47% then was that the
47, yeah. Sorry, I just made it.
did
This is
everybody
the problem.
get
I
it?
did the question 2 days ago, so I just
Maz,
kinda have forgotten.
Monty, Ruth,
Monty,
Stuplum,
Ruth,
Tabby. That's
Stuplum,
everyone then, isn't it?
Tabbykins, Ruth, everybody.
Everybody spin now. Boom, boom,
Everybody.
boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, oh no, not Tabby. No, Wiki.
Again!
Hey! Tabbykins. She
I
knew
needed
what
that.
right.
Because I just lost that question. I had to guess, so I got a C, but my C failed me.
It's the wheel of
It was
misfortune.
definitely between B and C. It could have been either.
The Wheel of Mercy.
Okay, so on to Act DOS. And we're in the observation lounge.
Dos
There.
cervezas,
Yeah.
por favor.
DOS, the viva, por favor. We're in the observation
Didn't know
lounge.
you spoke Spanish.
We.
Silly.
I mean, see.
I used to live in Germany, and I got my accent down so well when I was ordering beers that they would start talking to me and ask me additional questions. That I had to basically drop it and speak really bad, use my natural accent, because when I said it with such confidence, they assumed I spoke German and just would. Now you're just like, no, stop. All I wanted was a beer.
Yeah.
Don't ask me questions.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh.
Well, I would just always have people just speak to me in Spanish in Spain anyway, because they thought I looked Spanish.
I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see
yeah.
that
Oh,
in
you're
your
very
face. Yeah.
golden.
Being called Maria doesn't help, but then they wouldn't
No.
necessarily know my name on first meet.
Yeah, I can just see the kind of soft features. Yeah, I can see it. And yeah, I assume you take sun well. You look like you do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do a lot of sunbathing these days, but when I was younger, I used to be a real sun worshiper, and I was pretty much, pretty tan a lot of the time.
Tis true. In the observation lounge, they're discussing whether Amanda is an alien, but if she is, Beverly can't detect it with any of her tests. She appeared to be completely normally human. Then Q appears at the other end of the table, admits he was responsible for the warp core breach. It was his test to see if Amanda was Q. You see, her parents had assumed human form, and in the vulgar tradition, conceived a child in the human way, and because they spent too much time with humans, got attached to that child. Q doesn't understand any of it. Beverly tells him it's beyond his comprehension, and he hopes it stays that way. Troy asks what would have happened if Amanda hadn't stopped the breach, and Q replies, well, he would have known she was human then. His plans now is to instruct her on the ways of being a Q, so that she doesn't accidentally blow up the universe. Beverly's like, then once you've done that, you'll bugger off, right, and leave her alone? But Q says no. Once he's finished, he will take her back to the Q continuum where she belongs. Beverly argues that he can't do that, but Q quips back that, rest assured, he can. As Beverly gets more heated about the idea of Amanda being ripped away from the life that she's known, Q decides it's time for him and Picard to meet privately, so transports them, Q-style, to Picard's ready room. Q tells Picard that Crusher gets more shrill with every passing year, and asks Picard to help introduce him to the girl, so to help build trust. Picard's like, how do I build trust when I don't trust you myself? In the end, Picard agrees on the understanding that it's in Amanda's best interest. He looks really, he's really sure about his
Great
decision.
picture.
Yeah.
He kind of like looked like he was half smirking a little bit though
Yeah,
in
a
this
little bit,
scene.
a little bit.
I liked it.
Yeah, so Picard agrees on the understanding that it's in Amanda's best interest, given her situation, but tells Q they have to appear at least to be civil with each other in her presence. Q knew he could count on his Mon Capitan. Picard exits the bridge and gets Data to investigate Amanda's past, as he's sure Q hasn't told him everything. Beverly meets Amanda, who is kind of relieved, actually. She now knows why all these weird things have been happening to her, and Beverly tells her about the Q and asks if it's okay for one of them to meet her, and Amanda agrees. Q walks straight in through the wall without being invited, and Picard has to use the door in the standard human way. Q grabs her out of the chair and inspects the young Q. He asks her straight away, what powers has she used? Has she caused any spontaneous combustion of someone she doesn't like? He looks at Picard with glee as he says this, as though to say, I've thought about it. She admits that this is the first time when she was on the Enterprise and the container nearly flattened Riker that she's used her powers. Q says, that's why I thought you'd need a greater challenge with the warp core breach. He grabs her face this time and tells the group that this one has potential, and grabs her hand, is like, off to the collective we go. But she force pushes him across the room. And in this one you can really see that
real obvious stunt double this time.
That's not
yeah,
Q.
that's some 20-year-old dude.
That's definitely not Q.
Actually, do you know, I think that's Data's stunt double.
Yeah, it looks like Data stunt double.
Yeah, it looks a hell of a lot more like Data. It does
It's a bit like
he's got a very
Macduff
distinctive
as well.
hairline. I
Yeah.
probably did I mention before about his surname? Did I tell you that one in a different episode? I probably did.
What?
Okay. Anyway, his surname is Delancey, and his father or his grandfather used to think they were from sophisticated French background.
Oh yes.
Learned French and went around France and thinking they're all great Huguenots or something. Anyway, it turns out it was Clancy. He's from Ireland. His family are from Ireland. It's just when it was a spelling mistake or whatever when he came to Ellis Island when their family came. So they built up their whole life in this lie of being French aristocracy, and they're like pig farmers from Mayo.
Amazing.
Yeah, he's a Clancy.
He's a Clancy, not a Delancey.
Well, it might be De Clancy, it could be Norman, but nonetheless, it comes through Ireland.
Q and Picard regroup in his ready room. Picard thinks this is typical Q behaviour. They agreed to let Amanda make up her own mind, and then at his first opportunity, Q tries to abduct her. Q tries to pass it off as just another test of her abilities. Q thinks she is quite a spitfire, and Picard advises maybe try a less abrasive approach. Q thinks she is just going to have to start behaving like a Q, and Picard thinks that she just did. Beverly's still talking through things with Amanda. Amanda is now worried that all her dreams in her life were for nothing. Beverly thinks the only way, the only one that can actually help her is Q, even if he is a really horrible person. Amanda wants to continue on her assignment with no different treatment, and Beverly agrees.
Okay, just a show of hands.
I don't know why
If
that
you were
picture's in.
suddenly told that you were this amazing being, that could do anything you freaking want, would you honestly be all broke up about it and said, oh, my dreams are shattered, everything was for nothing? He was like, really? That's
Yeah.
the response she goes with?
I'd be like, oh, so I've been wanting to win $1 million on the premium bonds. Hey, there it is. And I can retire. Ah, great.
Well, I don't know if any of you have ever heard of the guy called Notch. He invented Minecraft. But anyway, he invented Minecraft in his mother's basement or whatever it was, and he sold it for $4 billion about 3 years later. And his life has been horrible because he is so rich, but he's got no real friends. There's nobody close to him. He bought a big Hollywood mansion. He hosts these big parties, kind of like the Great Gatsby. and he feels so alone because all these people are superficially attached to him, and it just he
What did
doesn't feel any joy in life at all. Sorry.
So what did he think was going to happen if you move out into the middle of freaking
Yeah,
plastic
well,
bag?
he's. I think I forget. Is he Finnish or something? His name is like Mark Andrews Peterson or something. But yeah.
The thing
Anyway,
is, though,
becoming rich ruined
most
him
yeah, but
completely. Yeah.
he did it to himself, didn't he? I mean, nobody knows
Yeah.
what Notch looks like.
Sorry, he's
If you,
Swedish.
if you're gonna move to
Holding big
the middle of
parties and
Hollywood,
other-
buy one of the biggest mansions in Hollywood. You know, that's the
Yeah.
kind of life you're going to lead. But if he moved
Get
to,
all these 19, 20-year-old bikini girls, invite them around, pay them money, bring them out in yachts, and it was so superficial. His life is a misery. He hates his life
but he
because
could
he's
move,
so. Imagine having 4 billion and hating life. That's where he is.
but he
And
could
I'm going
move.
to put it forward that he probably didn't have any friends before he sold Minecraft. So I'm like, is this new for you, sir?
No, he was an introvert who liked programming. And now he's got more money than he has sense, and he doesn't know what to do with it.
But he
And
could
his
move
life has
to
no
the,
meaning.
but he
You
could,
didn't have friends before. It's like what?
You raise your hand, Monty, and then maybe they'll give you an opportunity.
But can I speak? Jesus.
Maybe.
He could move to like the Gold Coast in Australia and say, you know, people, my name's Bob. I'm moving into. Nobody would know who he was. Nobody knows really what Notch looks like. He doesn't have to live that life, but you know, he chooses to live that life. So yeah, I can't say I really agree with his problems.
Well, there's a reason why many billionaires get involved with philanthropic endeavors. You know, they start doing charity work and stuff. It's just their life has no challenge. They need to find something to get involved with that's difficult because, you know, if you've got 50 billion in the bank, life is so ridiculously easy, it just gets boring. You know,
But then-
it wouldn't necessarily good to be a
But
human.
then
You get
some
bored.
billionaires go on a philanthropic quest, and it looks like that on paper, but actually it's kind of like world domination. Bill Gates.
Yeah. Well, Bill has donated more than he's ever earned. I mean, Elon is the current villain.
Yeah, or Musk, who's now in
Muskie,
charge of
yeah.
X.
Bill Gates could be the richest person in the world. He's chosen to give away over 100 billion. He just doesn't need it. What do you need? What do you need it for? A billion is more than you can spend in a lifetime. Why do you need 500 billion?
Yeah, but as a
You don't
part of
need
his charity work, he now owns most of the farms in America. He owns like massive, large swathes of America, and is one of the biggest influencers now on the farming market in America. If he decides, right now I'm
Buying
going,
real estate, philanthropy, though, is it?
No.
Philanthropic.
no, but it's done under the guise
Philanthropy,
of helping the world to feed itself. You know. It's a part of his, you know, feeding people endeavor or whatever. But also that also comes with lots of power now, because if he can change, if he decides that his farms are going to change pesticides or not use certain things anymore, it changes the whole dynamic of the market.
I suppose that's true, but I mean, I'm going to get this statistic wrong, but I think he spent like 10 or 15 billion, something in that order, and he's, you know, he got rid of malaria in huge swaths of the world. There's like billions of people who will never get malaria because he's like solved it, or smallpox, or any other number of diseases. But yes, he has too much power, but I suppose that's just the nature of being a billionaire. What do you do with it?
What do you do? And you say you've got Musk there, who's now renamed Twitter X.
Yeah.
You buy one
Yeah,
of
and
the
of
most
course that-
recognized brands on the planet with one of the most recognized logos, and you turn it into an
Yeah,
X.
Yeah, and of course,
That's
you
'cause
know,
of
the
SpaceX,
video
I guess,
portion of
yeah.
the site, xvideos.com, is the video portion of the business, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. Instead of like whatever the TikTok part of Twitter is now going to be X videos, which will probably lead people down the wrong path. Don't Google that out there, people. Don't suddenly think that,
No, don't.
oh, we'll check out this new Twitter video service. No, don't do that. No.
Apparently 10 to 15 years ago, he had the same argument with PayPal that he wanted to call it x.com. And they're like,
Yeah.
no, but people are using PayPal as a verb the way they use Google. It's like, I'll PayPal you. And you're like, you'll be mad, people spend hundreds of millions to try and get that brand recognition, and he eventually got outvoted because he didn't own all of PayPal. He genuinely tried to change it when you're going like, no, like people are using this as a verb. If people use
Yeah.
your brand name as a verb, that's a very good thing. You cannot
Yeah.
buy that level of marketing.
You
But
think this is his autistic thing where he's just into calling stuff X?
Yes.
Possibly.
He's always wanted to have
Well-
X.com, the everything app.
Well-
He wanted PayPal to be X.com. He wants Twitter to be X.com. He wants everything
he
he
got-
owns to be under X.com.
SpaceX, yeah. He even named his child XA Epsilon something. He started with an
Yeah.
X.
Yeah,
And
his
it's
child's
like
called
if
X.
you
Yeah.
if
Get back
you
to the
wanted
episode
to,
at some point, guys.
Yes,
yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll shut up now.
Shut up. Yeah. Bruce, but yeah, you're not going to tweet. You're going to send X's. That's what it's going to be.
They're called Zeets.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, at the end of this act, Q is walking the corridor. A shadowy shape appears up the wall and asks him to report his progress. And Q admits that there is a problem, but says they may not have to terminate the girl. So it seems that they are thinking about terminating her, indeed. That's the end of the act. Done.
Oh, we probably could have finished the act and then started rambling. All right. Okay. Okay, so in the observation lounge scene, who exclaimed, "Amanda's a Q?" after Q just said it? A. Geordie, B. Picard, C. Beverly, D. Deanna. And in the most recent episode of Strange New Worlds, who does Mariner state is this time period's equivalent of Q?
Sorry, say that again.
So, in the most recent episode of Strange New Worlds, who does Mariner state is this time period's, as in the TOS time periods, equivalent of Q?
Oh, I see.
I will give a hint and say he kind of looks like Liberace.
Yes.
And he had a computer behind a mirror, if you remember. Some
Yeah.
people theorize he might be a Q under a different name.
Yeah. Okay.
But Boimler keeps saying things that are inappropriate for the time period, and Mariner keeps correcting her. It's like, no, they don't have Q.
I don't know how to spell it.
I'll accept any sort of, if you're close enough, that's fine.
I don't know how to spell it, but I'm going to go with that as an answer.
Yeah, that's close enough. Actually, I think that's bang on, but anyway.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's spelled right, but any trivials? I know we haven't got much for that act, but
Oh, darn it.
Only a little bits and bobs. So yeah, after the warp core breach, when Crusher comes into the room, into the observation lounge, I'm sure she means to say she's a little shaken up, but it sounds like she says he's a little shaken up. I looked back a couple of times. I was like, yeah, it does sound like she says he's. I don't know why. And obviously,
Smiler's
Q
home.
yeah.
enters the room. So Q had not appeared at all during the 5th season. So maybe they're trying to make up for it now. There were 2 potential stories developed, but they didn't work out. There was going to be one which was Q makes 2, which was a bit of a debacle and contributed to why Man of the People was rushed into production. So they were hesitant to consider another Q story, but they found this to be a wonderful idea and bought the premise. Q actually makes 3 appearances in 1992 to 93 season. There's this one, and then Q-less in Deep Space Nine, and then Tapestry. So maybe that makes up for the fact that he wasn't in season 5. And also, this is the last time that Q deals specifically with the Enterprise crew.
Yes. Yeah.
He is in Tapestry and Orchid Things and stuff where he's dealing directly with Picard and meets with Riker once again in Death Wish. So obviously they say that, or Q says that Amanda was born to Q. There's a Voyager episode, The Q in the Grey, where they talk about the fact that no two Q have ever had a baby. So that kind of belies that a little bit. Although it appears in this case, they made themselves human and had her as humans, whereas the Q in the Grey was the first time that two Qs omnipotently boink. They go boink like that. They touch fingers. Janeway's like, she wants to watch them and they go boop.
Can you imagine her actually saying she wants to watch them have sex? Like,
well, he's like, Kathy, aren't you curious? So she sort of peeks out from behind a tree. But yes, they ET their way to having a baby, yeah. So I mean, so maybe it's a bit different to a Q actually boinking as a Q rather than as a human. Also, Q whisks Picard off from the observation lounge into the ready room, but like nobody really seems to be worried or like, where's Picard gone, being that Q has whisked him away before to places unknown. Nobody seems that bothered. Picard doesn't tell them all that he's fine and he's safe. He just saunters back onto the bridge and starts giving orders. But yeah, I guess they must just all be so used to Q by now.
He could be anywhere in the universe. There's no point in getting worried about it. Nothing they can do. Oh, he's gone again.
That's about it.
Yeah. Yep. No, don't worry, Wookie. I'm not being held hostage or anything. It's we're all good here. We're all good.
sounds like something I have to say.
So I'll give the answers. There's enough time there. So yes, most people got it right. It was Beverly, and it was Trelane. I
can't get
I
anything
won't
right.
worry too much about the spelling. Yeah, some people think Trelane is a Q. I can see why, but he obviously had a computer behind a mirror that made all his stuff work, and then the computer exploded, and then it didn't work, and that's not the same with the Q. So I guess not. It's just something else for me. Something else is not a Q. But they do specifically mention him in Strange New Worlds. He goes, by Q's force or something, and then Mariner replies, no, you have to talk Trelane. That's what they have back now. Although in saying that, Trelane wasn't for like another 6 years or something.
Not yet. Yeah. Still a while to go, yeah.
Although, if you're 120 years in the future, 6 or 10 years isn't really a lot in the greater scheme of things.
Yeah, I just thought saying something redundant like it just sounded something Geordie would say, so I put A. But yeah.
Yeah, but it was just such a stupid line that stuck in my head. It's like, well, of course not. She's a Q. She's a Q?
She's a what?
I don't know if you've ever seen Beverly, yeah. I don't know if it's normally Deanna, but for some reason they gave the line to Beverly. Deanna usually says it's stupid lines.
They gave it most of it.
Well, this is it. It's like Beverly's just doing all the talking in this episode.
Repeats what the computer says. Yeah. But it's just... Did you ever see a Louis Theroux documentary? It's like, I've been living here 4 years. You've been living here 4 years? Like, no matter what the person says, he always repeats it. It's... I hate Louis Theroux. He just irritates me. It's like, can you not just...
Okay, so who got the question right? It was Trelane. I did. Tavi
Montyban, Tavi. Wookie said latrine. And
I feel he deserves to be on the wheel. That's pretty close.
We'll put him on anyway.
He doesn't want to be on the wheel.
Stu Plum didn't give an answer for this one, did he? So no Stu Plum.
Nor did I.
Okay, well, since he's so close, can we change the rule for Wookie that if he gets it right,
Come on,
he gets
Wookie.
+10.
Come on, Wookie.
He gets +10 instead of -10 because you
take 10 points. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Same rules for Wookie. Same rules for Wookie.
Okay, captain's decision. Right.
It's
Ruth.
Hey.
There we go. Well done, Ruth. Okie dokie.
Myself and Stu Plum are in the lead with Ruth 10 points behind and Tavi 10 points behind that. So
I'm last.
Pretty close.
That's normal. Okay, Q's visiting Amanda again, and this time he's about to walk through a door, but decides to ring the doorbell instead. Slight goof on this. Well, the label on the door was like burgundy earlier on in the episode, and now it's purple. I think because that door's superimposed, it's not really there. But yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine they had a clean plate for the effect, and then it's hard to see. Does it say it says Lieutenant something?
Yeah, something.
It's hard to see, but yeah, it's not her quarters because the label is wrong. They had a clean plate for the special effects shot, which was separate to the filming.
The actual,
I guess.
On set shot. Yeah.
That's all that happened. First and second unit.
Yeah. So he does ring the doorbell and he enters and he apologizes for his earlier transgressions and says he wants to put that in the past. She asks him, what is a Q? Q wants to show her well, it's easier to show you than to actually describe it, but she doesn't want to go and gets ready in a defensive posture. But Q says that they are basically omnipotent beings and basically they can do whatever they want. She wants to know if she can help people, and Q thinks she's missing the point. He points out that she can do or have anything she wants. She wants to know what her parents look like. Q's like, quaint. How lovely. Well, do it then. So after some concentration, she makes her parents appear as ghostly figures on her sofa.
So just before you move on, can you just go back to that previous shot? That's not the one that's from the meme, but he like gets right in her ear.
He does. He does get right in her ear.
Yeah. There's one. There is a Q one with a meme where he just creeps in someone's ear just like that, but that's not quite the shot.
He likes being a creep in this episode. I'm just getting rid of some of the tabs.
Yeah, I get.
So
get the one with data on it. You could have. There's so many other tabs you could have closed.
I'm sorry.
Your middle clicker wheel.
Yeah, she turns around and Q's gone. But she says that having seen this, she knows that her parents loved her. And Q is like, soppy, I'm out of here. In the lab, Beverly's gone over the instructions on what to do with the cultures and how to record the mitosis. Beverly picks up that she looks distracted, and Amanda tells her about seeing her parents for the first time. Can you imagine what that's like? And Beverly can't imagine it. Amanda asks if she could have anything she wanted, what would it be? Beverly has no idea. After being forced, she admits she'd like to heal people. Amanda asks if that would include bringing her dead husband back. Beverly doesn't know. She couldn't decide that until she was faced with it. But Amanda is faced with it. Beverly leaves, saying she will check on her later. As soon as she's gone, Q appears. He thought Beverly would never leave. He wants to deliver another lesson, but Amanda's busy with her mitosis. Q thinks that they can mix both together. Hit two birds with one stone. He thinks Dr. Crusher would be delighted to find that they've moved things along so fast. It'll be a lot more efficient. On the bridge, Picard and Riker make arrangements to transport Crusher's experiment within stasis field, and Data says there's a message from Tagra 4. Look, it's Data, everybody, it's Data.
Yeah. Who's that other dude?
Very
is that Russell? No, that's not Russell. Russell is in this, I think.
Morph changed color and lost his ridges.
Yes.
He was in that other episode where everyone was looking kind of thin, but he was filling out his uniform.
No.
Real nice. Remember, he was a security guy with big old chest. I think it was last episode.
Yeah, it's got a
Looking
big
like
old
a
chest.
Big old chest.
Yes, yeah.
Looking like you don't eat nothing but protein.
Mm.
Oh, for panko, protein.
Booty. So they put the person on screen, and it's an engineer telling them that they've got reactor problems with one of their filters, and Picard offers Geordie's help. His face looks like Play-Doh. It looks like someone's just got fingers and just gone whoa with Play-Doh on his face.
I mean, that's pretty much how they made that mask. You know, that's how they do it.
Data has more info on Amanda's parents. Their home was destroyed in a tornado that appeared, destroyed their home along with them, and then disappeared again. Riker walks in.
A big tornado out of nowhere in Kansas? That's never been used before.
Yeah, never. Maybe it whisked them away to another place.
That was originally a question, and then I changed it to something else.
Riker walks into the med lab and Q's like, oh, look, it's number 2. He's there to ask Dr. Crusher what nutrients were needed to send down with the bacilli. The bacilli, I think. I don't know why he can't just go bacilli. Bacilli. I don't know why he just can't go. Riker to Crusher. What nutrients do I need? And then she can tell him. Don't have to walk anywhere. But Amanda doesn't know. But if he wants to stay and wait here with her, I'm sure she won't be long. And Riker's like, that's okay, and leaves. As Riker leaves, Q's like, ew, you actually attracted to him. How repulsive. How do you stand all that hair all over his face?
Oh yeah, when he got turned into a Q, he didn't have hair on his face, would he?
No,
So I was about to say, all on that when you were trying to get him to come to the outside.
Yep.
But he must have changed. I would have to say I do appreciate Riker not even giving this girl a second glance, because he's a grown ass freaking man and she's 18. So like he like if he's a mature man, he wouldn't be trying to look at that, be like, oh, nah,
he's also an XO. You know, just like that's the good way to get yourself, asked politely to resign.
Yeah.
But no, she's not a part of Starfleet. She is a civilian.
Yeah, I
Doesn't
don't
usually
know
stop
about
him, right?
Yeah, just too young. No.
The doc returns and spots that they've finished the cultures in half the time. Amanda admits that Q helped. Beverly isn't happy, though, as she needed to know the rates of the mitosis, and by artificially inflating it, the experiment's now useless and she'll have to start again. She's got that angry mum face going on. Pursed lips.
Oh, yeah.
And
She also has that 90s thing where the blusher used to go all the way down the cheekbone.
yeah.
I don't know why women used to do that, but it looks weird.
As Beverly's talking, though, Q turns her into a dog. I know. Sorry. Beverly isn't happy with Q interfering. Q thinks these human tasks are beneath Amanda, but Beverly says she doesn't interfere with his teachings, so he shouldn't. And as she's talking, Q turns her into a dog. Which was quite funny, because as she's talking, then the dog keeps barking.
No idea it's happened.
Dog,
Yeah. And then Amanda turns her from a dog back into Beverly again. And as she appears, she's like, and you stay out of mine. And Q's like, well, as you put it like that. I agree. Which is quite funny. It was quite a funny scene. On the bridge, Data and Picard are still talking about tornadoes. The end of that scene. Back in her quarters, they decide to play hide and seek and practice teleportation skills. First, she finds him hiding in a barrel in the shuttle bay.
Wasn't that the end of Act 3 when he turned her into the dog?
No.
I'm gonna have to say this is the creepy episode, because like that hide and seek, I'm like just something like pedo. Like,
That was.
ew.
That was. I didn't put an act break in.
Uh-oh.
All right. End of Act 3, everyone. I missed an act. You're right. I've gone straight from Act 3 to Act 5. I completely missed the
Go back
beginning
to
of
the
Act 4.
doggy.
I gotta go back to the doggy. Where's the doggy? There he is.
Ah. Woof, 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 woof.
What kind of dog is that? Anyone know?
Yeah, I may have a question on that. Well, actually, that wasn't the question, so it's fine. But the
what did you say, Miss?
so Act 3 question: what name does Q refer to Riker as? A. Mr. Pooper, B. Thomas, C. Ensign Babyface, or D. Number 2? And
Ensign
3A:
Babyface.
Beverly is briefly turned into an Irish setter by Q. Who does he later try to gift an Irish setter to? So in a later episode, he gifts an Irish setter to another person. Who is it?
Beverly is briefly turned into an Irish Q. Who does he later try to gift an Irish setter to?
It was a puppy of an Irish setter, you know. a puppy. Who does he later try and gift a puppy to? It happens to be the same breed, but that's not relevant to the question.
Yes.
I have no trivia or goofs because they've all been
Wow.
mentioned. The storm in Kansas being a reference to Wizard of Oz, and why didn't Riker just call Crusher on his communicator badge?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say,
And it was an Irish setter, maybe a reference to McFadden.
possibly. It's more Scottish than Irish, but they're related. But there's another Irish breed of dog called an Irish wolfhound. I don't know if any of you ever heard of that.
Yeah, I was gonna get one.
It's the biggest breed of dog you can get. It is bigger than a Great Dane. It'll stand. I'm 6'2". It can stand up and put its paws on my shoulders, and it's like basketballer tall if it's standing up straight. Irish setters are just just a sheep herding dog, I think. Not that common in Ireland, to be honest. But yeah, it is one of our breeds. Okay, I think we have the questions in there. The answers. Yeah, I'll run you through the questions. The first one, Mr. Pooper, I just made up. Thomas. Why would I say Thomas?
Size of that dog. Look at the size of him.
Yeah, they're nearly 8 foot tall if they stand up on their hind legs. Yeah, they're
huge,
big monsters.
What were you saying about them, Tavi? You were going to get one.
I was gonna get one of these.
Oh, they're lovely dogs, but they have to be walked for 2 or 3 hours a day. They need a lot of walking. They need to be constantly walked. So that's the problem with them. All right, sorry.
And they welcome people into your house.
Oh yeah, they're soft, fluffy balls of they're no harm to anybody, but they just need a lot of walking. If you don't have an hour twice a day to walk them, you can't have one. So anyway, the first Mr. Riker, just talking to the question, the correct answer was number 2. But Mr. Pooper was just as a stupid answer. Thomas, why would I put Thomas in there? Monty, do you know?
Yeah, as
Rita said, the other Riker.
The other Riker that came in a
The other Riker,
accident.
that's his middle name. Ensign Babyface.
Ensign
Does
Babyface.
Q refer to him as that before in a different episode?
No, in Jellicoe refers to him as Ensign Babyface because before he got the beard, that's what they called him on the Pegasus.
Yeah.
And number 2 was the right answer. And you're right, it wasn't the Beverly is Janeway later got an Irish setter just by pure coincidence or whatever, or Janeway having an Irish background. They used the Irish setter again.
And also in the episode in which he's trying to bang her to end up getting a little Amanda, but half Q, half human.
Yes.
Yeah. Although he could have just clicked her fingers and make her want to do it. He chose to look for consent, so you have to give him some props for that. He could have just made it happen if he wanted to.
He says Q looks like he's having a poop.
Yeah, he's squatting there.
I should have just put it on something like that one there. There you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's better. Okay, so who got the bonus question then?
I think everybody except Stuplum.
Everybody except Stuplum. So I need to add a Maz. Let's do this thing. Are we ready?
I don't think Q knew how to have sex though, because he was.
Well, eventually when he does, they just touch fingers, and that's all that happens.
Yeah.
It's
Mother.
Hello. Lovely.
Lovely jubbly. So, yeah. So we talked about on the bridge, talking about tornadoes, them deciding to play hide and seek, her finding him in a barrel in the shuttle bay. She then looks for him in engineering, but she can't find him. and that's because she was thinking too much like a human because he was hiding in the warp reactor. You got Data and Geordie at the console going, what the hell what was that? What are they doing? What's going on? And then
of course they're not alarmed because they're used to testing things right next to the warp core that could blow up them and the entire ship.
Yeah, just because they're fiddling around inside the warp core. Not a worry.
We've seen in some episodes you can just fire a phaser straight into the warp core and that blows up the ship. There's nothing to stop you doing it.
No.
Or even in First Contact where you can just smash open a pipe and kill everyone in engineering. It's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah, I hate this shot. I've hated it since I was a child. They are 10 stories tall. Literally, they are so tall. Scale is awful.
It's not too bad.
But what if they are 10 stories tall and they didn't realize that they were changing the shape of themselves?
They're cute. They can be as big as they want.
It's possible, but it's a really bad shot. I don't like it.
His head is almost as big as the end of that nacelle.
Yeah,
It would have been cool if they were like on the underbelly upside down. That would have made them seem like they were thinking less like humans. But
yeah, I suppose.
I understand on standard definition it's hard. They would have been absolute tiny little dots if they made them smaller. But this is, the scale is so out on the shot.
They're a little big. Yeah, they're a little bit big.
Oh crap! I haven't mentioned the chief lately.
So yeah, she does find him on the outside of the hull. So she's starting to think more like a Hugh. They head back in, and Q tells her, "See, the universe could be your playground." Then the doorbell goes, and it's Beverly and Troy coming to take her out to dinner. Q tells her that eating is a nasty human habit she could do without. She's Q. She doesn't actually need to eat. And then he disappears.
You might as well put his tongue in her ear. He's so close. I'm like,
So
I hope he doesn't breathe. Can you imagine if he could breathe?
Yeah.
She could eat all up in her ear. No.
That's just his acting style. As I said, there is a meme where he does that, but it's in a shuttlecraft from a different episode.
Oh yeah.
But it's basically like, it says, it's finally Friday. I have the weekend off. And then, it's Q over your ear going, Monday is soon, or something like that.
It's soon. Yeah.
You get the general concept of the meme. But, it's not that particular shot, but I guess it's in his acting style, I guess.
So she's out to dinner with the girls, and Troy asks her how she's coping, as she was struggling initially, but now she's actually enjoying herself with her newfound cuteness. Then Riker enters 10 forward and greets the ladies at the table. Amanda asks him if he would join them, but Riker has other plans as he's on a date with another crew member. They ask her how her lessons are going, but she's preoccupied with Riker and his date. She completely blanks them. I noticed that there's a different black pyramid-like thing on the table.
Yeah, I noticed the same, and I have no notes on what it is. It's just there. I don't recall it before nor since, but there it is.
There it is. Oops, there it is. So she's preoccupied. She decides she makes a snap call and whisks Riker away to some kind of 19th century romantic setting and gives Riker a massive hat.
She took him back into our people's version of lady porn, the romance novels.
Yeah.
Definitely a cover.
Do you have Mills and Boone over there?
Yeah, Mills and Boone type thing, or Sense and Sensibility, or something like that. Yeah. Oh, Mr. Dorsey.
The romance novels. That's very much what they're going for with the hat. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think she thinks he's got a big head? That's why he needs a big hat.
Well, even if he doesn't, she can make him have one anyway.
Yeah. Oh, I need a...
You know what to say about a man with a big hat?
Oh, my.
Big head.
Big head.
Yeah. Okay, so he refuses her advancements. Yes, this is Riker we're talking about. And...
Because she's 18.
Yeah.
Ew.
and says she is lovely, but none of this is real. You can't make someone love you. And she's like, oh, really? Uno reverse card. She waves her hand and does make Riker fall in love with her. He starts kissing her neck, and she realizes that this is all wrong because it's left her feeling empty. So she sends him back to 10 forward. All I can hope is, as well as sending him back to 10 forward, she like wipes the whole love interest thing from his memory. Or she just send him back to his date. It just appears, and he's like, where's Amanda?
Yeah. You know, I love this scene because I thought this scene was very, very like small, and his reaction to like these scene changes where she's created a new reality to the side. I think that's also like a symptom of the people of the future. For us, we would be like thrown aback by it. But when you live in a world where you can be in a holodeck all the time, something like this extraordinary scene change is completely unimpressive at this point. And I thought that would be like just a cute, like, or I thought it was neat for like the Star Trek concept of it, that he's not taken by it. It's like, no, this is fake. We've had like VR since forever. So for him, it would just be a very
well.
Sorry, I just read Wookie. She said this is where Matt Hansen comes in from like left of scene with a clipboard and says, excuse me, Mr. Riker, could you just take a seat?
Wookie asks, is there any smoking in the original series? Not that I can recall, but in Star Trek 6 there's no smoking signs all across the ship, which is weird. And they do smoke on the planet of Vorpenta to keep themselves warm.
He smokes a cigar that the shapeshifter woman gives him.
Yeah. A man, and whatever her name is. And
no, it wasn't a man, it was a woman.
Straight out of my head. Yeah, no, a man.
Gotcha.
Hey.
Well done. You see, dad jokes are better when you're an actual dad. So I'll bow to experience the guys.
Oh, there you go. I did a dad joke. It's been a while. Oh.
I'm putting it up even though he's a victim of your dad joke.
I think there was. I think he went, and maybe the Seat of the Edge of Forever. One of the episodes where they went back in time or something. Someone was smoking, and they're like, "Oh yes, this is." They used to do that back then, or something like that. You know,
Little Green Men. You're thinking of. It's like cigarettes, atom bombs. You know, it's like you guys poison yourselves.
They do mention it in that. Yeah, but no, people don't smoke in the Star Trek universe.
They mention in Ferenginar is covered in acid rain because they have no environmental standards, so it doesn't quite fit. But nonetheless, it's a good scene. I
think the closest they got in TNG was with salt sticks. Aliens were sucking salt sticks. It was a disgusting habit. Right. So Picard summons Q to his ready room. Picard has questions about Amanda's parents and the tornado incident. Picard wants an explanation as to why this tornado spontaneously appeared over at the home, then destroyed them along with it, and then disappeared again. Q says he doesn't know, he wasn't there. But Picard asks outright, did the Q continuum execute her parents? Q dismisses him as, so what if they did? Well, the reason is Picard will have to tell her about it. Q tells Picard it's irrelevant, as if she's Q, she's going with him whether she likes it or not, and if she's not, and she's some kind of hybrid, then it's time for her.
You would think that it was relevant because if she's a Q and she wants her parents back, she's just going to pop them back into existence.
Yeah.
Maybe this is why they're really, really upset about a Q level being running around. It's one of the implications of it.
Q's like, with unlimited power comes unlimited responsibility. He's been watching Spider-Man.
Clearly, they can't have unlimited power because it's more than one Q. So, in order to have unlimited power, there can only be one. So, their power is limited. It's just, exceeding what humans are capable of. Also,
there's a flaw in your logic, but I'm following.
It depends
Also,
it depends if the universe is infinite or not.
Yeah.
If the
Well,
universe is
you know,
infinite, you can have an
several
infinite number of infinites. So, but
well,
if the universe is finite,
if you're all powerful, how can someone take the power off you? Or how can someone be as powerful as you? Because you decide something's to be one way, and then you decide it's the other
I'm
way.
with
So
you.
either you're all powerful or you're not.
They remove Q's
they can
powers,
only ever
don't they?
be-
So he can't be infinitely
Yeah.
powerful.
There can only be one all-powerful being. So
Picard wants to know if she's going to live or die, but Q hasn't decided yet. I use this picture because when he asked that question, Q kind of like looks really gormless off into the distance. He's like, don't know, I haven't decided yet. Anyway, that's the end of Act 4. Got the right act ending this time.
that'll do it.
Well done, Mondane.
Hey!
Questions.
Sorry, I'm loading it up there. Which part of engineering does Q pop out of? A. The magnetic constrictors, bollocks. B. Deuterium tanks. C. Antimatter pod. Or D. Dilithium chamber.
Yes.
And
I don't know, but I'm going to give it a lot of hearts. Lots of hearts. Lots of hearts. Oh, okay, sorry.
And then the bonus question, back in Strange New Worlds, when Boimler promises not to give future knowledge again, he says on whose honor? Now, I will say honor is the clue in that question. Clue is in the question.
Yes.
So it's like Scout's honor, but he says something else.
We got
All
D, D,
guesses.
D.
And then he goes
Worf,
crap
Worf,
because he
D,
made a
Worf,
future
Worf.
reference again.
Yeah.
Although technically speaking, there was a person alive of that name in that time frame, I think, roughly.
Colonel.
Exactly. Sorry, Mazza.
No, nothing. No, yeah, no, that's fine. All I was going to say was earlier, a couple of people were saying about, I don't remember Q being this sort of creepy or weird or horrible, but there was a concerted effort to kind of make Q's character in this that bit more sort of malevolent. They weren't really going for a creepy perv, but there was some
Menacing.
thinking that he had become a bit too much of a joke, and so they were, trying to make him a little bit more menacing, as you say. So and then also this element of the fact that Q might have to kill Amanda was actually added after quite a few of the scenes had been filmed already, so they wanted to add this extra element of drama as an extra dimension. So
The dark shadow in the corridor thing was an inserted scene, wasn't it, towards the end?
Yes.
And then when they saw it in the rushes,
sinister undertones.
when they saw it in the rushes, when they added it in, they were like, I wish we thought of doing that earlier because we could have used that a bit more and made it even more sinister.
I always presumed, I've never heard it confirmed in writing, that he was just based on Loki, that he was that malevolent god that, is there to call the god of mischief, as he would be in the original Norse sense. I realize in the MCU they've introduced him in a different way.
And they said
sorry, you're laughing like, did we talk about that before? I guess we did.
They're saying it was a nice sort of duality with it, actually, because Amanda's there like trapping Riker and getting sort of girlish romantic feelings and stuff, with no idea that actually her life is hanging in the balance. So it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Right.
I think John Delancey was also keen to have his character return to being mad, bad, and dangerous to know.
Yeah.
He said he tried to be malevolent in places, but it didn't really lend itself. So he wanted to take it one step further where Amanda was killed, but they obviously didn't want to do that in the script.
That would have kind of really made the episode dark if just at the end of it, he's just like, nope, dead. See you next time.
Very Star Trek, though,
Yeah.
don't know. You never hear from her again. It's a bit questionable.
Yeah. He's
True.
like, right, let's go. Everything's good. Off they go. Yeah. As soon as they disappeared there, he appeared somewhere else and she was never seen again.
I know I already mentioned it, but the fact that they never brought back Thomas after the find still annoys the crap out of me. Like, Riker has a twin brother, and just like they just don't mention it. So I'll give you the answers because we've had enough time. Yeah, it was D, the dilithium chamber, and yeah, he was said on Worf's honor.
Yeah, not Dwarf's honor.
I'd accept that if someone put that in because it's close enough.
Yeah.
It's because you put D and then Worf.
Yeah,
It looks like
Dwarf. Okay. I think everybody put Worf, didn't they? Me, Brave,
Yep.
Maz,
Got 5 Ds
Stuplum,
and 5
Terry.
Worfs.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Add Stuplum.
Okay.
Add you add Stuplum.
Got to add Stuplum.
Yeah. Okay.
Stuplum.
I did mention that I said that they were relatively easy. I didn't go too deep in those.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Spin the wheel. Do 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 up do up.
Oh, just well, the Stu Plum because he is the winner.
The Stuplum.
Gavina.
Well done, Stuplum. Good job, sir. We're on to the final act. We're on the home straight. We're nearly there. Okay. So the Enterprise has arrived at Tagra 4 and begins delivering the supplies. Nice shot of the D there around the newly created planets for the Blu-ray version. In the observation lounge, Picard debates what to do next with Troy and Beverly. They agree it's her best interest to tell her about her parents and how they died. In the show bay, Riker meets with the Tagran engineer, Orn Lot, who struggles to breathe because of a lifetime of breathing polluted air. There is some sort of, environmental message to be had in this episode that they really don't deliver. Because they just help.
Well, they say it early on, don't they?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's so weird how they put so much effort into trying to clean their atmosphere rather than actually stopping the pollution in the first place.
But let's risk our lives just trying to clean their atmosphere and don't actually treat the problem.
Yeah, the prevention is better than cure. Just got completely lost in the wash.
Yeah, it was the.
This was
late 80s,
This
early
was
90s.
the time when the hole in the ozone layer was known about, and there was debate over whether we ban CFCs or not. It was. I mean, we're still bad now, and things have got worse. But Jesus, we're a hell of a lot better than we used to be. Is all I'd say.
In Picard's ready room, he tells Amanda that Q plans to kill her if she's not fully Q, and that they killed her parents. She's not happy about this and wants to know why from Q himself, so she summons Q. It's an interesting shot from behind the sofa in the wall type camera.
Yeah, they had to take a wall out to make that shot work.
Yeah.
Fair play to them. I don't think I've ever done it before nor since, but
No, it's not. It's an unusual shot.
That shot is not okay because his elbow was clearly through where the wall should be. So
Yeah.
the other one was fine.
Q appears, and Picard asks him by what right he appoints himself jury and executioner. And Q responds because of his superior morality. Q also tells Picard that the trial he put humanity on is not over. The jury is still out. Make no mistake. This is, of course, referring to the trial that Q put him on when we were introduced to Q's character in Encounter at Farpoint, which I'm pretty sure is a mistake because I'm pretty sure he told Picard at some point that the trial was over in one of the other Q episodes. But anyway, they're still on trial. Picard questions his morality because he doesn't recognize it. His parlor tricks are impressive, but he would bet on human morality any day.
Great shot of Picard.
Yeah, he's in full Picard rant mode. I've lost my.
Did you
know where it is.
just do a data? Oh my God!
Just doing away with tabs?
He just did a data cleanup. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that the one? No, that one. Yeah. He's giving him a good. He's giving him a good talking to. Q tells Picard he only comes here for Picard's wonderful speeches. But this time they have decided not to harm the girl after all, as long as she can resist using the powers of Q. Q tells her that her parents were given the same option, but they couldn't resist, could they? And you know what happened to them? But despite this warning, Amanda agrees, and Picard gets called to the bridge. Riker reports the situation's worsening on the planet. It's worse than they thought. The reactor's going critical, and they have a few minutes to reactor meltdown. Just as the situation is most dire, the reactor fixes itself, and then a massive energy fluctuation in the atmosphere cures the planet's pollution problems. And here's a little... there's the planet. There's the planet starting to get better. There's the planet all fixed. Shiny new. Data reports that the ecosystem has returned to its very natural state.
He must have just got on shift. He is looking dapper.
Looking smart. Q appears and is like, told you so. Dead. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Amanda agrees she can't deny what she is, and that she is indeed Q. She can't stay with them and pretend to be human, but she also refuses to go initially with Q, as she wants to say goodbye to her parents and do things in her own time. They say goodbye. She says goodbye to Beverly, but she promises she will visit, because, you know, she's Q and she can visit whenever she wants. Amanda and Q then disappear from the bridge in a puff of Q light. That's the end of the episode. Done. The Enterprise flies off to its next adventure.
I hate the way it ended so quickly. It's like, you know, when you were a kid in school and said you have a 2-page essay, and then you get to 2 pages and just over, and they all lived happily ever after the end.
Yes.
It's just like, it's like, you know, you still have to finish the story. Anyway, 5. What is the name of the species the Enterprise is trying to help on the planet? A. Telosians, B. Temerians, C. Tigrans, or D. Tusk? And the bonus question: in the latest Strange New Worlds, which TNG character's name does Boimler shout as he mounts Pike's saddle? So Pike has a saddle for his horse, and he just like swings his leg straight over the saddle and just says the name. I'm just going to say a name. He just goes, Guinan, but it's not Guinan. It's a different name.
No idea.
I'm just going to say him as I'm going to say he swings his leg over the saddle. All the way over the saddle.
I'm going to guess.
Way up wide.
I'm going to guess this based on your clue, and it sounds like a word that you should shout if you like catch something going over a saddle. I'm gonna
like
put
he
that.
swings his leg way over, like in a really
mounts
weird way.
that saddle kind of from behind, does he?
Something like that. Yeah, he just does a big wild hip swing.
Yeah.
I'm being as obvious as I can. Go on,
yes,
sorry.
I get it, but you know, it's kind of not much point when you tell us the answer. So Amanda's temptation to use Q powers was reminiscent of Will Riker's temptation, as we mentioned earlier. Q Q's line was a bit like Spider-Man with unlimited power comes responsibility. Apparently, there was a deleted scene featuring Deanna Troi bringing Amanda a dog named Henry to look after.
They can't have a scene with Troy in it. No, that gives Troy lines. No, that would be allowed.
The scene was deleted,
As
but
the
the dog will
counselor.
still be seen briefly in the final episode. I don't know about that.
It's not
I
even a
didn't notice
guiding
the
episode.
dog other than the other dogs that were already in there.
I looked through all the caps for that dog.
Oh, and you can see it
I
either.
couldn't find it. No, I didn't see it in the episode.
No.
I looked through all the pictures as I was going through the pictures to find this bloody
Yeah.
dog. It said the dog's still in it. I couldn't find it. Is it?
Maybe they've taken it out in like the
Maybe.
the later versions of it. And obviously, as you mentioned, it's foreshadowing Q's future appearance in All Good Things. And I'm pretty sure that when Picard says something about you're acting like judge, jury, and executioner, I think he also says that line in All Good Things.
I'm pretty sure he does. I'm sure I've heard him say it in other. Yeah, I'm sure it's not the first time or last time he said that to Q.
Yeah. But yeah, so not much really extra other than what we've already talked about. Some people have also observed that, Q seems to have been able to give Q-like powers and take it away in the past, like he did with Riker. So why couldn't they just take away Amanda's powers? But obviously that was giving powers and taking them away from a human rather than a Q. But having said that,
They took his powers off him.
Which one is it? With Quinn in Voyager, they take away Quinn's Q-like powers.
Well, no, they took Q's powers away as well before.
Yeah.
The Continuum did take Q's powers, yeah.
And he was attacked by.
So why couldn't they have just
malevolent
made him a
entities.
human if that's what she wanted? Yeah.
But well, if they're omnipotent, then that is something that they can do. So, you just remove the temptations. You want to lose your powers? Yes or no? Okay, gone, done.
Yeah. There you go. That's about it.
Question to Sean: at what instance did you watch the latest episode of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds? At what instance?
I woke up in the middle of the night at 4 a.m. on Saturday morning, and I rolled over and I turned around to the telly and I watched it straight away, and it was only out about half an hour. And so I watched it more or less as it came out. And then I fell asleep and woke up in the morning and had to watch it again because I was half asleep, so I didn't really remember. And in typical Lower Deck style, it hits you so hard and fast you have to watch it twice or three times to get all the references.
Yeah, I have to admit I have watched it, but I can't remember half of it now. But that might have been the wine. Possibly might have been the wine.
But yeah, Sean Ferrick, I don't know if you know Sean Ferrick of Trek Culture fame, named it his favorite episode of the streaming era. I don't agree. I think season 3, episode 9 of Picard, where they introduced the Enterprise again, is my favorite, but it's a close second. It's definitely my second favorite episode.
I can't stand watching him. I just find him too sycophantic. I can't stand it.
All right, I respect that.
Yeah.
But anyway, he loves his Trek and he knows his Trek.
Oh, I know, he certainly does. He certainly does. But even like the really terrible episodes, he kind of like gushes over. And okay.
I see what you're saying. Unlike me, he hasn't been blocked by Terry Metalis.
Wow.
Because if you know Terry Metalis on Twitter, if you mention any criticism at all about any episode, you get blocked.
Yeah.
So there's more Trek fans blocked than unblocked by him at this stage.
He's grown up a Hollywood lovey, hasn't he? So yeah, sensitive souls. Okay, so answers to the last question.
So I'll ask you to talk you. Well, Tagrins is the right answer, but you want to tell me who the Thelosians are?
They're from Talos, the Cage.
The Cage, yeah, they're the brain aliens with
the
Brainiacs.
Yeah.
Temerians.
No, it's not coming.
if I said to Darmok and Jalad
Oh,
Tenegra,
Tenegra. Right.
yeah,
They're the
that's them.
Temerians.
And Tusk.
Deep Space Nine. I am Tusk.
I am Tosk.
Yeah, yeah. The episode Tusk featuring the character called Tusk from the race Tusk. They breed them for hunting, kind of like a fox hunt, and
Yeah.
one slips through, kind of similar to a Jem'Hadar, probably related. And yes, it was Riker was the answer to the second question. He literally just does the big Riker swing that leg over, and he goes Riker as he just sits on the saddle, and it's the most stupid thing, but it tickled me something awful.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So
for that.
I think
so
on
we got-
the bingo, we'll have to call it there on any more bingo calls.
no more
so that,
bingos. No more
Tammykins can
bingos.
do her totting up.
Bingos is finished. Bingos is finished. Have we got
Deep Space
everybody
Nine,
then?
Voyager, Enterprise.
Right, 1, 2, 3. Do we only have three Rikers?
Yeah. Yeah,
Who's that
and
then?
Wookiee. To take me and Stuplum off.
All right. No Stuplum. No, right, okay.
Come on, Wookiee! Come on!
Hey!
I liked your game theory. Unlucky. Tavi.
It's Taffy again.
Nice.
Good job, Taffy. I didn't get any wins on the wheel tonight. And we didn't get any Wookiees either, so there's that, I suppose.
No, I think we had 2 Wookiees last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
None
Wookiee,
this
you're letting
week.
side
None
down.
this week.
Particularly poor Mazza there, so you wanted to win.
Yeah. Crikey.
Who says I didn't win anyway?
Yeah, probably did.
Well, when you're in charge of the county, you win when you want to win, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point. Everybody start thinking
Like
about what
I
you
would
give this
cheat.
episode out of 10, from 0 to 10. What would you give this episode? Let me know. Put it in chat. And
I'm
it's
checking.
called True Q. I'm just getting a sheet ready. Right.
Several comments about this episode. I think this episode is increased in value because of I think the Picard series, because there's a lot of information that you never really understand about the Q, and not only the Picard series but also Discovery. I know, slight dry heave, but the Q don't appear in, or at least they don't know anything about the Q appearing in Discovery when they're wondering if they're still around. But in this episode, it was something that I've forgotten, and it was a question that I had on whether or not the Q were bound to the galaxy or if they were able to actually traverse the universe. In which case, they say, that they can go through the entire realm of the universe.
Well, so we see it before in the episode where Picard is allowed to change his past. So they basically exist in all timelines, in infinite timelines, because they can explore all of them, kind of like Doctor Strange.
But I mean, like, timelines doesn't mean that you can actually traverse the rest of the universe, because time might not be a fabric or a dimension in all galaxies, from what I hear. Wow, nobody got bingo this week so far? What?
Yeah, I didn't get any that I'm aware of.
Crumbs.
But for this one, when you have that understanding, it makes it clear that, okay, it is quite possible for them not to show up in Discovery because there are trillions of galaxies. I believe. Is it trillions or billions? No, trillions. Or was it stars?
Well, there's an unlimited number, basically.
It depends whether, we don't know if the model is infinite or not infinite. We can only see a small percentage of what actually exists, so we'll never know. But it's probably trillions, at least.
Well, within Star Trek, the general consensus is that, for every decision you make, whether you go left or you go right, a different universe is created. And, even in Earth, where there's only 7 billion people, if every time you get in the morning, you roll over on the left side of the bed or the right side of the bed, there's an infinite number of realities, parallel realities. That's
Has
kind
anybody
of
seen
where it is.
Devs? It's a sci-fi show on. I'm not sure where you can find it now. It was made in like
I have not.
2020. It was like on I don't know, one of these things. There's Devs. It's about these developers, this tech company that developed this machine. It's based on quantum computing, and it can
Ruth
basically.
says, yeah, it's good. She's
Yeah.
seen it.
I'm in the middle of it at the moment. I'm just about halfway, but they develop a machine that can basically take the states of atoms now and using quantum computing extrapolate that out and make estimates of everything that's going to happen in the universe and everything that has happened. And then they can put that on a screen and form an image of anything they want given the right parameters. Very powerful, but it's quite a creepy. It's quite a creepy kind of utopia-like series, like very eerie and moody, and yeah, it's pretty good.
Apologies for anyone who was waiting on a Red Dwarf for bingo, but there's a character called Cassandra who can see the future, the past, and everything else.
Yeah, shit. Yeah,
I was very much in that vein.
this computer is a bit like Cassandra, yeah, but it's not like artificially intelligent like she is. Right. Yeah.
My other
Mazran
view.
Suplan.
Good night, Steve.
Have you given us your figure? Have you given us your square 10?
He
Oh,
has.
he has. That's all right
Yeah.
then. Yes, no, Duplan, Mazram.
What gives
Yeah.
us a score there?
Hmm?
I said, did Wook give us a score? I don't think he did.
No, Wook says, I will not score this episode, but instead next week give the episode a double score. Because Wookie's Wookie and likes to be
Wookie's
contrary.
Wookieing. Yeah.
I do like next week's episode, but we'll come to that in a second.
Yeah, we'll come
score
to
time.
Okay, so how are we done with the scores then for the quiz?
So, scores for the quiz. In the lead with 430 TNG points, in joint lead, in fact, would be Mazza and Stuplum. So,
Yay.
both.
10 points for you both,
both-
is it?
Yeah, we both got
48.
spin of the wheel, right?
48.
But I'm shocked because half of my answers today were guesses, and I didn't get on the spin of the wheel many times. But somehow, yeah, fix. I'm the point scorer. Obviously, I'm making it all up. And then in joint second place is Tavi and Ruth with 410 TNG points, so they get 8 points each. On the
8
scoreboard.
points, so that's 52 and 48.
48. And in third place is Monty Ban. Unfortunately, Monty, you did get 2 questions wrong
Yeah, I
today, so you
did.
were about 90 points behind the curve, I'm afraid.
No worries. So that's 6 points for me, is it?
6 points for
6
you,
points for me. That puts
And no
me on
bingos, so
44.
no stragglers this week.
No
In
stragglers.
terms of little bits of points for, Ash and Gujon and stuff.
Sort range. Sort B. Sort. There we go. Oh, I still
Go
got.
on more guess about the episode, or should I wait?
Sorry?
Should I go on more about the episode, or
No,
should I
you
wait?
Go
carry
on. Absolutely go on about the episode.
When I was looking at this thing again, the second season of Picard it is the second season where Q wipes out.
I tried to
this whole
strike
line
it from my memory.
morality. Yeah, this whole
Same.
like morality and this development ends up like foreshadowing Q's own demise, because he's already been punished once for misbehaving, and he is in a constant state, or at least where you're figuring that he's a fuck up in the Q, because he's doing things wrong when he first is supposed to bring Riker over to the dark side, doesn't get that done, and he gets his powers taken away because he's getting punished for a lot of the shortcuts he's taking. And even though they say Q can do whatever they want, it's obviously that he can't, and he's one of the ones that ends up doing that. And then at the very end, with this level of like morality where he's getting in too close and he's using his powers just recklessly,
you've got Picard season 2 where he's very much become this person that he's describing as disgusting, like, ooh, you like humans so much, but he loves Picard. So he ends up getting sucked in to the very thing that he thought was incomprehensible before. And he's using all these talents that he's probably not supposed to be using. And I'm presuming, if you, I guess if you look at this episode and you go a bit back, that perhaps he ended his life ended because the Q were like, nah, we're done,
Hmm.
and he's out. So I just thought this episode was really funny because all of the things he's pointing at her and telling her about is something that he ends up doing later on, and like in this situation where she would have been put to death, he ends up for some reason losing his life and not understanding what's going on. But they just let him
Yeah, and a
die
lot of
off.
this is covered in Voyager as well. So he's going, ooh, kids, but then in Voyager he ends up having one. But in
Yeah.
Voyager, they very much, so there's this other episode with another Q in it, who says that to him, Q was an inspiration because Q was a bit of a renegade and he wouldn't toe the line, and and he was a bit of a rebel and he was inspiring. But then when the Q continuum punished him, and then he was towing the line again, it was like a little bit of light went out of the universe. So this other Q actually convinces our Q or Delancey to go back to his rebellious ways. So yeah. So all that absolutely spot on.
I liked it how in this episode, for some reason, humans, at least at this point, think that they're at this height of morality when Q are at a different level of understanding in the universe. Where why would they have morality? They haven't had any of the challenges that they need to strive through, or even think of it in a better sense. But they see the world in a larger sphere. So I thought it was very strange that even though Picard maybe had a point, this level of being doesn't care about morality in the same like echelon of understanding as humans would. And I just thought that was just very strange. Like, no, no, that wouldn't happen. They are Q. He can kill a whole bunch of you, and it's the same as if we accidentally step on an ant pile. Oh darn, a few ants got squished, but oh well.
But
So,
yes, you can sit in with smells and things. You can place food down with ants and make them come to that location, and then you can move that
yeah.
food source, and you can watch the ants go to that location that they knew the food source was. And as the ant went there and then went back, left a trail of pheromones saying, "Food this way," and then you put the food in a completely different direction, and you can see all these ants going to and from the food locations, all getting confused because you've messed up their sort of direction scent trails. And that's kind of what Q does to us as ants, doesn't it? He kind of likes to prod and likes to send us going in fun directions just for his own amusement, because he sees us as ants
Well,
and of no importance to the galaxy.
there's an ant thing where it's kind of the circle of death. One ant takes say a left or a right turn, and everyone follows them, and they just circle and circle and circle around until they die of
Yeah.
exhaustion. So he pokes and prods, as you say. He's a god of mischief. He's very much influenced by Loki, and
Yeah.
but I will say, you think about modern human beings who were born into wealth, who never had any real trials in life. They're much more of a shit than what Q is.
Yeah.
He's actually very, very well adjusted for someone who was high born, shall we say.
Hmm. I mean, they do have a higher IQ because, like, I mean, it's been mentioned, like, if you us and chimpanzees is 1% of our DNA difference. Can you imagine the percentage of difference with Q and the IQ they
Mm.
would have? Um, so I mean, maybe just in their knowledge alone, that it wouldn't make them so
Mm.
malevolent and short sighted and spiteful as we would be. And in this episode, when I first saw this episode years ago, I thought like, oh, you just got to kill everything that you're dealing with, but and blaming it on the fact that it's a an all powerful being. And I was like, well, how are they doing that when you've got another species like the Dowd who can just and destroy other species by a thought, but they're only particularly worried about, I guess, the Q. And how it also raised the question back and then, well, that guy who said he was the doubt, he says he was the only one left. I was like, what if they actually have bumped heads with the Q and he is the last one, like he was saying. Um, and I guess in that arena, when I was looking back on this episode, it does make sense that a Q would just wipe you out immediately and wouldn't talk to you or try to deal with that, because in like a fight on fight, it's who's going to nuke who first. Because this isn't like an all powerful being that you don't want to be bumping heads with, or even having that discussion with. So I guess their death blow or death strike, I think, on other beings was not an issue of morality. It's just the actual fact of it. It's like, no, this is another all powerful being. There's not going to be a conversation if we have differing ideas, because we can both do whatever the hell we want. Nearly. It's just, if you see it first, stamp it out. If they're not on our side, if that made any sense whatsoever.
Yeah. I quite like the idea. I mean, they come across quite a number of like all-powerful type beings in Star Trek, or have alluded to them finding the remnants of all-powerful beings that have now left and gone elsewhere. I imagine, like in the depths of the universe or galaxy, that there are like these slumbering giants of like powerful beings that you don't want to wake up. A bit like Babylon 5, with the shadows and the
First ones.
the first ones. Yeah, the first ones, the old races. Yeah. Okay, so what were we going to give the scores then? Everybody got their paddles ready?
I've got my
All right.
Ready?
Okay,
Mouse?
Brent.
Paddle. 3, 2, 1. Boing. Hey,
7765.
7, 7. 7, 7. Oh no, 7.
Mine was a 6. Abby's was a
6,
7.
7. 5.
And in the audience, we had a 6 and a 7, so that's 6.5. Technically, rounds up to 7.
Well, that comes out, reasonably well for this season.
Can you scroll to the right?
Yep.
Thank you.
Comes up just above
Yes,
Relic's.
second best.
Cigar.
Third,
best.
sorry.
Third best after Time's Arrow, Schisms, and then True Q. Then joint Relics and Realm of Fear be after that. I think that's about right. I will say that I enjoyed this episode more than I thought. I remembered it being like the not good Q episode of TNG. But
Yeah, that's how I remember it.
watching it back, I kind of agree with what was Maz was saying earlier about actually it's a bit of a return of form, I think, of Q. He's got his menace back, and he is all in their face, isn't he? And he does that very much on purpose to throw his weight around, doesn't he? And I think it's pretty good. I quite liked when they called him. It's like, do you mind if you meet a person called Q? He might be able to help you. Okay, and he just walks straight through the wall. Doesn't stand on ceremony or anything. Just walks straight through the wall and grabs her out of the chair. It's like, yeah, right, you'll do.
John Valanci was perfectly creepy the way he kept sneaking in her ear and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a bottle show of no great substance. So
It was a great substance. What are you talking about, man?
it's the worst Q episode.
I don't think
Second
it is.
worst. The
I don't
DS9
think
episode is worse, but
I think there are worse Q episodes. I even think possibly that one of the earlier ones is there's this one where he goes they're in there, even when they're in the lab, he's just completely surrounding her, she can't move, literally pins her to the desk.
I
Ew.
I get he's deliberately being a creepy sleaze because I suppose it's a thing as an actor. If you go, you're such a sleazy creep, it's a compliment. Because if someone walks up the street, you're such a sleazy creep, you go, thank you.
Yeah, so
That's
he's supposed
exactly
to be
what I was
being.
trying to portray.
Yeah, that's what he was going for.
Yeah, it can be hard for I think soap actors and stuff. People have trouble struggling to separate the character from the person. But it's yeah, I'm doing my best to be a creep, and it's a compliment to me that you think I am a creep. as paradoxical as that sounds.
What's funny, he used to actually act in a soap opera.
Yeah,
I I believe it.
yeah, yeah. A lot of them did.
Yeah, he was on a soap opera before this, or at least appeared in an episode or two.
Yeah,
Well, there's a skill set you get from working on a soap. Apparently, happened to Kate Mulgrew, where you can be given 10 pages and you have 20 minutes to learn it, and you can just go out and read it straight. That other actors just don't have. So, yeah, it makes it very popular and in demand if you have that experience behind you.
Hmm. I thought it was strange at the end that he didn't use this world because she wanted to save all these people and she wanted to do good, which he could have used as like a human sentiment. But these people are all dying and their world is dying because they were stupid.
yeah.
He didn't make, he was like, he didn't hone into anything that, your emotions, whatever, need to be clear, but you need to have a bigger picture here. It's not just doing things that are nice. And you did this shot not based on anything other than sentiment. So I don't totally missed opportunity.
Well,
And
I think
go ahead.
go on.
The dude coughing, it lets you know that we've lived in a pre-COVID time because the guy coughed a bit too much on screen. And I'm like, ew.
And they never said anything about it. That was the weird thing. Is I thought there was going to be some kind of message about that, but no, he just coughed and had an inhaler because they fucked their own atmosphere up. That was it. Nothing more was said. Didn't offer to help him or anything. No, it's just the way it is. It's just kind of weird.
They could start their destruction all over again.
I have a question. I have a question for you. What was the name of the shuttlecraft in that scene?
I know. Anybody else?
Anyone else?
Fermi.
I don't know.
It was the Fermi. Yeah. I was wondering. I had that written down because I wondered if that was going to be a question. So
Ditto.
I
even
try and
looked
keep you
up
on your
Fermi
toes.
Paradox in case he was going to ask about who he was.
yeah.
and
So
everything.
who is Fermi then? If the shuttlecraft was named
Oh,
Fermi, who's
oh
Fermi?
yes, Fermi's paradox. What's that again? Christ, I
It's
can't
it's
remember.
the idea that it's about the existence of aliens. Hold on, I put it
Aliens.
down.
This is something to do with the lack of
Oh yes.
evidence
So,
of alien.
if aliens exist, if sufficiently technological aliens exist, they would have already made contact with us.
Yeah.
Therefore, aliens don't exist. That's
Yes,
Fermi's paradox.
that's Fermi's
It took me a
paradox.
second.
Yeah.
Took me a second, but we got there.
Not that I'm saying that there's aliens, but I do find I'm thinking, are we not doing the same math? Are they doing different math? And I was like, we live in a finite time period in a galaxy amongst trillions of galaxies. For all you know, the most epic civilization just blew up before we started figuring out things. Or it's behind a cloud and a nebula, or it's over here. So this thing is like, oh, we don't see anything. And I'm like, what senses are we using to look? What if they're in a totally different realm of energy or whatever that we haven't been able to pick up yet? We're still picking up different types of energy and different things of interaction. So I think this comment is so stupid to me for someone who's so smart. It's like, what? Why would they?
As best we can tell, the universe is 14.4 billion years old, I think. And
13.8.
Earth is 4.6 billion years old. And of those 4.6 billion years, humans have existed for like 200,000 years. And of those, even like just basic radio has only existed for 100 years or 150 years. So we are so microscopically small,
In
on
the time scale of
history
things.
it's 1% of 1% of 1% of 1% of 1% of 1%, keep going on. It's just, the point is, it isn't that there isn't other developed, self-aware cultures out there. It's just the likelihood of two coming to fruition at the same time and being able to communicate with each other is pretty much impossible, because the universe is so big. And if our civilization only lasts 1,000, even if we last 10,000 years, it's so insignificantly small
That
compared
will
to the
miss
age of the
everybody.
universe. And given that we can only communicate at the speed of light, that it just, yeah, we're like ships passing in the wind.
Yeah.
it just won't happen.
I don't know. I mean, when they say
So
that, I'm like, they keep saying these things, and I'm like, oh, there's no aliens. And I'm like, you can't say that. You
no,
guys don't even know what
it's not saying
95.
there's no aliens. It's
Yeah.
saying that we will never be able to communicate because our civilization will rise and fall. We'll get, I don't know, let's say 10,000 years. And bear in mind, we're only 200 years into that and we've messed up the planet. So let's say we get 10,000 years before we completely destroy our world. In the space of a planet that lived 4.4 billion years, that's not so much. We have
No.
this tiny, tiny little gap. So the idea that we just come together, the space of the universe doesn't allow for it. It's
Mathematicians
too
took
small
all
a
that,
chance.
didn't they? And they crunched it down, and they reckoned that
Yeah,
in the end, the galaxy will probably only host sort of 2 or 3 intelligent civilizations at any one time.
yeah.
Because they come and
It's not
go.
that it won't host thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds
Over
of
time, it
thousands
will.
civilizations or millions. It just they won't be all together at the same time, and they won't
Yeah.
be in within 3 or 4 light years of each other where they might have any sort of chance of communication. We'll always be alone.
And they
Wookie,
always presume that. Okay, sorry, go ahead. Sorry,
say
Monty.
Wookie points out, Sean, that the world's only 6,000 years old. You need to read a book.
Yeah,
Just one book.
Just the one book.
the good
Just,
book. Yeah,
it's the good book. Yeah.
I grew up in Ireland. I had my Catholic education. I should know better.
Yeah.
You should. And I was like, the other thing that they presume is that what makes you think that an intelligent species is going to take our route in civilization? For all you know, they're extremely eco-friendly and they don't mess with anything. So unless you can actually detect an earthworm on another planet, on the other end of our galaxy, we may never pick them up. They could be living right now. It's just that they're a bunch of hippies and they aren't polluting the galaxy with enough information for us to even ever pick up.
Well, the problem is that if a advanced alien civilization wants to contact us, they'll probably want to conquer us. So, because they'll be so much more advanced than us that they won't consider us as equals.
But then you could argue that there's an infinite number of multiverses if you
Yeah.
take that
Oh, we're
multiverse
getting
thing
into
into
it.
account. And if you've got an infinite number of multiverses, a whole infinite number of those could develop the technology to traverse multiverses. And so any of the aliens that we do or do not see could be, in fact, manifestations of people that actually live here but from another dimension.
So many stuff.
Uh,
But like I said,
I feel like I need a joint.
that's, but I mean, like these same physicists, they sound so certain and so cocky about it. And I'm like, wait a minute. You guys just said that the universe is made out of 95% plus of dark matter and dark energy, and you don't know what it is or how to use it or how to measure it or blah, blah, blah. And I was like, if you can't even figure out what the majority of the universe is made out of, what makes you think you have the wherewithal to say there is or isn't life anywhere else?
Yeah, that's the weird thing about science. We saw it during COVID because they were like, the information keeps changing. And it's like, well, of course it keeps changing. As we learn more, the information changes.
Yeah,
We
it does change.
continually evolve our knowledge, and therefore, what was right, 6 months ago isn't necessarily right now. So
Wookie says
just
we need to watch Sausage Party. Is that because there may be
I've
intelligent
seen
life
it.
in our fridge
In our fridge, yeah.
and we
Yeah.
don't even know it?
In our pack of sausages.
And another alien could live in a different dimension than us, just one up, 2D, 3D. We'd never realize each other we're existing. They could be waving at us right now, and they're like,
Well-
they don't see us. They don't
Well,
see us.
but that's exactly what Fermi's paradox is. It's like it's more or less guaranteed there are other forms of intelligent life across the universe. It's just there is no reason to expect that we will interact with each other because the universe is too big and the scale of life is too small that it just won't happen.
Anyway, my point was that Enrico Fermi was a Italian-born naturalized American who created the world's first nuclear power station in Chicago. So, yeah.
Nice.
Physicist who created the first nuclear power station. That's Enrico Fermi. That's what he's famous for. That and the Fermi paradox. So there we go. I have seen Sausage Party Wiki. It's very wrong. It's a very wrong film.
Smira says she enjoyed a hot dog yesterday. Couldn't remember what had put them off. Off hot dogs.
Hot
But now
dogs for
she
quite some
remembers.
time. It's the scene when the hot dogs meet their buns. It's no, just no,
Very wrong.
very wrong. Oh dear.
Questionable flavors.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
peeling of the vegetables was the way.
Oh God, the horror, the absolute horror. It's a very graphic film, isn't it? For things, it's just about
Yeah.
sausages and vegetables. It's like a complete gore fest. Yeah, crazy. Anyway, yeah. So that was True Q, our new favourite Q episode. Is that right, Sean? Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. Outside of the DS9 one, yeah, it's definitely the worst. Well, it's the worst of the TNG ones. Certainly.
Yeah. No. So, what's up next week?
Rascals.
Rascals.
Oh,
Oh,
Do you remember that episode where Keiko becomes a 12-year-old and still tries to come on to Chief O'Brien? I remember. Yeah, that's gonna not be creepy at all.
It's. We're gonna see how well this episode's aged when the.
Yeah, like milk, I would imagine.
I'll read the description. Captain Picard, Ensign Rogue Guinan, and Keiko O'Brien are regressed physiologically to the age of 12 by a transporter accident, but retain their adult memories, resulting in different reactions from each of them. When a rogue Ferengi hijacks the Enterprise, the young crew members, along with Alexander Rosenko, lead the revolt. So there we go. That's
Yeah, it's
Rascally
fun.
Rabbits next week.
It's a fun episode, but that creepy scene with Keiko is just it's all just messed up.
you just. Of course, this will be next episode, but I just realized Alexander Rishenko. Of course, it's the last name of, I guess, Worf's grandparents. But I just remember when they were saying
Adoptive parents, yeah.
yeah, adopted parents. I was like, I just remembered. He made it seem like there's no one else that could have watched out for his son, but his baby mama is half human. I'm like, where the fuck they at? And nobody called him up. But
No.
anyway, that's just what that comment brought up, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, it's not just his family.
They were completely lax, weren't they? That side of the family.
Yeah, she had the baby in secret. I was like, so why wasn't he staying with her family? I don't know why. Anyway, yep, that was it. Random.
Should I tell you what put a weird look on my wife's face this week? We were watching YouTube and we're watching the guy that creates those great Star Trek parody videos. And,
Sarek.
yeah, and he had a video out this week where he's got another YouTuber and they're having a Star Trek quiz night.
This is what I was talking about earlier, and I couldn't find the background.
Drinking contest they were having. And one of the questions was, how many dongs do a Klingon have?
Yeah,
And
2.
of course, I knew the answer 2, right? And Vicky looked at me and was like, "You what?" I was like, "Yeah, they got 2. They got redundant organs for everything. They
You
got,
see 2 screens, yeah.
yeah, and because there's a scene. Is it Discovery or Picard? I don't know. One
Yeah,
of those
yeah,
shows.
you just take a slash against the door.
They
and
just see a
there's
Klingon
2
peeing
streams,
against
yeah.
a wall, and you see between their legs like 2 streams coming out. Two wee
Yeah,
streams, which sort of made it canon, confirmed the fact that Klingons, are double donged, and yeah, the look on Smiler Rainbow's face was priceless. Yeah. She looked
She
shocked.
didn't know that.
No, she was completely unaware of this this ability. Yeah. No wonder Dax was such a happy woman.
Yeah, I looked
Yeah.
at Wolf in a whole new light.
Yeah.
You did.
She's
Didn't
getting
it?
that DP action. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
No wonder Worf seduced Troy. It all makes sense now. It's all falling into place.
Yeah.
The
Redundant
helicopter,
organs, as they call them.
helicopter with style. Yeah, Klingon style.
Oh my goodness, like those double-bladed helicopters,
The
or those the
Chinook.
Black Hawks that have the two.
Yeah, the Chinook. Yeah, they call it the Chinook.
In the same episode, Clint Howard's brother, whose first name has gone out of my head. No, sorry. Clint Howard is his name. The guy who was on Happy Days.
Oh, Ron Howard.
Ron Howard. His brother Clint Howard was on that episode as an Orion. Sorry. And anyway, the point is, because he was on the episode as an Orion, he holds the record from the first to last appearance in Star Trek, because of something like 53 years. Because when he was 6 years old, he played Baylock in the original series. And then in 2017 or 18, he played an unnamed Orion.
Carbonite maneuver?
I'll take your word for it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
The
It's
point is,
carbonite maneuver. Yeah, he plays this like little kid who hides behind this big alien head mask thing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. He's Baylock, and he drinks the Tranya.
Yeah.
But he came back 53 years later, and he holds the record for the longest period between two appearances. Although he had a role in DS9 and Enterprise in the middle.
Yes. He's been in everything. Literally.
Yeah, he's been
everything.
a water boy and stuff.
Yeah.
And Bryce Dallas Howard as Nisa's director and actress in her own right.
Yeah,
big family.
they're all in the industry, aren't they? And
Never babies.
he's not a looker though, is he? He's not like the other
Yeah.
Howards. He's not a looker.
That kind of works in his favor. He worked beside Max Grodenchik in who played Rom in Apollo 13, and they just have interesting features. They're not leading men, but they're unusual looking, and it stays with you. So
Yeah. Makes them good character actors.
exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's about it for this evening. I think we're pretty much done on that one.
Yeah.
Thank you to Mazima Bob, Tavikins Turner, and Jeef Son. And thank you to everyone in live chat that came and joined us, to Wookie, to Smiler Rainbow, to Ruth, Bryce, to Stu Plum, to Mickey for popping by whilst he's away on his hauls. And we hope you all had a lovely evening. And we will join you next week for Rascals. We'll see you then, 8 o'clock next Wednesday.
Like the stream if you haven't, and we're just 11 subscribers off 500, so smash it if you haven't.
Share it. And if you want to come and join me and G on Friday and chat, feel free to come and join us for the Monty Zone on Friday. See you then. Cheers, everyone.
Aliens.
Bye.